Welcome everyone to the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. I will be your host, Esperoxy, and of course, I'm not alone. I'm joined by your amazing casters for today, which is of course Tendo Plays and Fire. It's going to be, well, a pretty fire day because we've got Group B going for those top 10 slots, looking to get themselves into the next phase of the Apex Throwdown. So, first up, let's take a look at that schedule to remind you of what you are in store for today. And here it is, of course, as it is, they only have 1 day of matches to get themselves through to the next phase. So, of course, we will be only playing one map, which is, of course, World's Edge. And we've got 4 matches, 4 opportunities for teams to pick up as many points as possible. Now, in addition to that, you must be wondering, okay, well, why are they doing this? Why are we here? Why are we watching some Apex Legends going down? And it is, of course, so that these teams can prove that they're not only some of the best teams in Africa, but also to take a share of that prize pool. A total prize pool of $1,000 is up for grabs as it stands. 4th place will be taking home $100. 3rd place taking home $200, 2nd place taking $300, and your champions of the Apex Throwdown will be taking $400. And just the bragging rights that they're so good and the best in Africa, but that's another point. First off, let's remind you of what happened yesterday with Group A's games and how the overall standings took place, who went through, and on who did we have to unfortunately say goodbye. Tendo, do you want to take us through our top 10 and our unfortunate bottom 10?
Yeah, I mean, what an amazing day of Apex Legends we had yesterday. I mean, the support was out of this world, the games were out of this world, and 2 noobs, 1 cheater were out of this world. I mean, absolutely farming the lobby. They managed to rack up 40 kills throughout the day, 75 points. Outright favorite, I think, right now, you know, for a lot of people coming in. Project Rise as well, putting up a big shift. Daddy Cool, the man, the myth, the legend, did a absolute madness. Let's not forget about Alphon and his clutch abilities in that one game where we saw vibing on top of that platform. And I mean, Punks was doing great last night as well. Team Bench pretty much, you know, really impressed me as well. Insanity, you know, consistency is key at the end of the day. Pretty big ponies. They were fishing, you know, they were looking, they were getting some good picks here and there, some good rotations. But hey, man, unfortunate to see them in 7th place. But I mean, they're through to the semifinals. That's all that matters. Innovative Gaming. What a storyline for Innovative Gaming. All 3 games, you know, the first 3 games getting absolutely no points, 0 points, and coming through in that final game to absolutely smash it out of the park, hitting a home run, hitting a 6. I don't know what other sporting reference to use besides saying they're cracked out of their minds for doing exactly that. Mama's Ooze consistent throughout the day, and obviously 69 Gaming, they were pretty good. Those bottom 10 teams, hey man, next time, the next African Throwdown, come back, you guys got it. But today, it's all eyes on Group B.
And Group B is an interesting one. We'll be talking a little bit more about that shortly, but let's take a look at the points and see how exactly teams can pick up these points that find themselves that top 10 slot, that find themselves in a position to go through to the next phase. And of course, it's a little bit different from the first season, just a little bit of an adjustment coming through. So 1st place will be taking 12 points, 2nd place takes you 9 points, 3rd place lands you 7 points, 4th place 5th, 5th place 4th. Yo, this is gonna do this again to me. Numbers, me, doesn't work. It doesn't work. But you can see it on your screens. You can see it. You can see it. That's all that matters. And of course, that all-important kill point coming through. So for each kill, you land yourself an extra point, which we saw a lot of teams yesterday doing really well with. I mean, 2 noobs, 1 cheater, one of the teams that come to mind. In 3 matches in a row, they actually took the 1st place on that standings, even though with the 3rd map they didn't even win that map, but they had so many kills that it made up for it at the end of the day, and that is why they were leading the pack. It's that consistency, and that energy that we want to see from these teams coming through today, as Group B will be starting their shots. And let's actually talk a little bit about Group B. So we mentioned this briefly yesterday, but today is the day that I really want to talk about it because this is the group that they're actually in. What are your thoughts, Tendo, on the fact that we are guaranteed new winners for this season, as the defending champions are obviously not here? And I mean, ATK even, you know, some of the teams that did really, really well, or then underrated today, now Omnius Gaming, you know, some roster shuffles have happened. The teams are looking very different. There's very few teams that are actually here with the same roster.
Yeah, and I mean, look, man, it's like any esports. I mean, roster changes are always going to be a thing, and I think it's pretty exciting to think that, regardless of how things go, there is going to be a new, African Throwdown champion. So there's all of it to play for at the end of the day. You can walk away with that crown, and especially now with like a full registration of 80 teams, you're really getting every nook and cranny from Africa. Actually, a really good talking point that we were speaking about, before we started was that today's lobby is really diverse. We've got
is.
Madagascans,
Exactly.
Tunisians, Ugandans. I mean, all walks of Africa is in today's lobby. 80K definitely going to be a heavy hitter. I think, I think probably the favorite to top this lobby, but let's not forget about Omnius Gaming. You did say the previous underrated, now newly signed to Omnius Gaming, looking to make a burst into the scene to really put them on the map. And maybe tonight's the night.
That's exactly what we want to find out. And I mean, for maps, that's a lot of opportunities to get as many points as you can and really make a statement that you are back and here to take the crown in the African Throwdown for Apex Legends. So it's going to be an interesting one. And I mean, you mentioned it, the diversity that we have in this tournament. And I love talking about it because the fact is, I love talking about the different countries. I mean, Fire, I'm going to name some of the countries and you just let me know what you think because it gets me really hyped. I mean, you've got South Africa, we've got Mauritius, we've got Senegal, Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, Namibia, Madagascar. We've got a few other countries, players hailing from England, from Tunisia, from Germany, like all over the place. How sick is that?
Yeah, that's absolutely interesting. Like, I'm even looking at the list right there on Wikipedia. Sorry, on Wikipedia, and I can see, just like you mentioned, the South African players, there's players from Nigeria, Ghana, and all the rest. So it definitely brings that dynamics. They even players all the way from Germany, so Turkey even. So I mean, it's will be interesting to see how, it all plays out today. I'm super excited to see it. There's a lot of experience, like Tender said, coming in from teams like ATK. Just checking through a lot of their statistics. They've had tournaments that they've been participating all the way down from 2020 in February, and we'll be keen to see how they do perform today. I'm super excited.
I'm also very excited to see it because I think today is going to be an interesting one. Of course, it is day number 2 of the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. And if you haven't already, please go check out that snazzy new website. It's really cool. It has some cool stuff. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you after the match as I hand things over to Fire, to Tendo Plays, to take you through the plays that is going to be on this
All
beautiful,
right.
beautiful map. It's a good season. You guys know what to do. Take it away.
It's Group B today, Act Fire, and I mean, hey, it's going to be just as heated, I feel, as yesterday's group. I mean, we saw so much
Definitely.
action in the beginning of the first game, so I'm really expecting to see a lot of action coming in from this one over here. Act Fire, this is your first time accosting a bit of Apex Legends. I'd love to know what first your favorite weapon and your favorite legend.
I mean, definitely my favorite legend has to be, Octane, because coming from games like Call of Duty, PUBG Mobile, I just love to just get into shooting, right right down without having to bother too much about the theatrics, basically, of powers and all that stuff. Oh yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. Another player that I do love to use is Mirage, um, because I love the tricks. You understand? I love the tricks with Mirage, but sometimes if the opponent doesn't fall for those, then I'm left hanging. So that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we'll see too many Mirages, unfortunately, tonight. Yesterday was maybe our only chance to see Mirage with Daddy Cool, but unfortunately, he was playing Watson. And speaking of Watson, I see Alucard over there is picking Watson from the boys. So that's going to be interesting to see if, he's going to pull up the same numbers that Daddy Cool was putting up yesterday. Sia, obviously a big pick in this lobby already. We're seeing a couple of caustics coming here and there. So I think tonight is going to be quite exciting with that diversity first of all the nations that are competing, and of course all of the legends in this beautiful game. And it's World's Edge as everybody is about to drop on in. And let's not forget, obviously, with crossplay, we've got our console lobby boys in here ready to game as well, you know, making their debut, some of these people inside a competitive environment, and I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting. We've talked about teams like ATK, right, and you know Omnius. Aside from them, what other teams do you think might be able to pull a surprise right here on the map? If we're going to see, you know, some other teams that you know about come in and you know prove to be let's say king killers, if you may call them.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough to call for now. You know, it's a lobby that I don't really have too much information on, except for the few South African players that are in here. Okay. So it's going to be great to see a lot of this international talent. But Inexorable coming in as a streamer team tonight. You know, Salty Beast, A50 Gaming, and Super Shreds. Got to check those guys out. They're on the grind, guys. They might be a bit of a threat. And it looks like today the zone is pulling towards the north side of the map. Yesterday, I'm not sure if you catch some of the games, but we had a lot of south-facing zones.
Exactly. Just like you said, man, I watched that and the action was absolutely on fire. But let's hope we do see the same thing throughout today. All right.
And tuning into the tree, we do have Inexorable here. Longbow in the hands of Salty, just trying to pop a couple of shots. A50 takes a lot of damage. A50 goes down to the hands of Nexus. So that's a bit of a misplay coming in from the Bangalore player. And we tune into the LITE Alpha squad. We're getting a tap res, fortunately, on the Mirage player to try and bounce back in this. There's a lot of squads here, and it's pretty congested here at the tree. Kind of interesting to see this happen, and there's a big push coming in to Inexorable, and I wonder how good they're going to be able to hold this one off. It looks like they're handling it so far. They get a knock, but Mr. Titan and Nexus are pulling through. It's AQUAMEN who are looking to be dangerous to start off the day here, and it's Nexus with the RE45 dealing a lot of damage, and that's going to be Inexorable going out, unfortunately, first in the lobby tonight.
Man, Inexorable being dealt quickly right there, and Tyson just coming in right there off the back and taking them out. Really interesting to see our first action go down. But man, we love it to see.
Yeah, looking at a quick glimpse of how the zone is looking. There's a lot of squads in the zone for a change. You know, usually in these quarterfinal games, in these group stage games, you'll see a lot of squads having to make hectic rotations into the zone. So I think a lot of squads will be able to just calm down. I think, you know, these squads that are landing towards that south side of the map, the likes of AQUAMEN are going to have to make a really long rotation to get all the way up into the zone. But here in Skyhook, we've got Carthaginois who are making their way through. This is... The name is pretty difficult, ladies and gentlemen, to pronounce. I kid you not. We spent about 5 minutes trying to figure it out. But they're one of our teams all the way from Tunisia, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be good to see how a team like this is going to perform in this lobby. And Sabro is inside. Massive shots connecting for a lot of damage. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Sabro, or I think it's maybe Sam Braun, is a professional player in his own right. You know, plays a lot in the Middle East African region, you know, has a lot of competitive background. So I'm pretty sure this team is actually going to be a really big threat to look out in tonight's games.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, they're getting into the action quickly right there. But man, bro, one of the teams that I'm definitely, you know, looking out for because of how much, you know, action we've seen them getting into in several competitions, even them coming third in the last edition is ATX. I'm really keen to see, you know, how they do. Several different teams now looking to get deeper into that zone, as you can see right there. But man, things are. I guess a lot of these teams are looking to prioritize, you know, just getting into the right spot and, you know, coming in that top spot and qualifying to the next stage.
Yeah, positioning ultimately does win you a lot of games in Apex Legends. As we did see the team of Slap Patkis making their rotation. Why Candice is actually one of our very few female gamers inside this lobby, like the likes of Mama Succubus from yesterday. So we're gonna have to keep a lookout from them and see how well their team does. But looking at how the zone is going, as we tune into ATK on the opposite side in a bit of a gauntlet here at the train station at Skyhook. Big fight coming through. They're actually fighting Innovated Ivory, who are trying to hold things down. They've got Caustic, so they can hold things quite well, but that crack from that Arcstar is going to do a lot of damage onto the players. But for now, AQK doesn't look to be really aggressing this too much, and they don't really want to enter in just yet.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're just trying as much as possible to be cautious. They don't want to lose the players. They don't want to take on, you know, too much. So they're just trying to display a little bit cautious in that one. But we'll see how it does progress. All right, going through that dimension right there, hoping to come through another angle. I do love that move, man. I do love that move. That was one of the first moves I learned when I first of all started playing the game. Being able to just, you know, flank your opponents right there.
ATK seem to be in a bit of a big fight here against Carthaginois, and there's a knock on the opposite side, but it does look like ATK is going to be able to mangle through the window here. It's Krillix, one of our Turkish players in this one as well. Very renowned in the Middle East African scene as well. And you can see just why the Prowler in hand is a lethal weapon for Krillix. Dust needs to try back him up in this situation. Champion's been down, but then Dust goes down to Sambro. So now it's all up to Krillix, Gibraltar player. Sentinel and Prowler in hand, not the best weapon to try clutch things up, but maybe for Krillix it's gonna be enough. As things start to stabilize, he needs to find some footing on the staircase. There's one, but they're both peeking him from the same angle as he tries to hold things down. Domino's gonna push from the opposite side. There's not much Krillix can do, stuck in the corner, and Carthaginois are gonna take them down. And they're looking like a threat here, taking out ATK.
Ooh. My goodness, I actually think that was gonna happen. Like, I was expecting a lot more from ATK, and I did think that Krillix was gonna do a lot more, but the Carthaginois definitely had another plan, and wow, it take them out. What do you think was the defining moment right there? I mean, them not working together, splitting up, or, you know, it was just down to the tactics of Carthaginois?
Yeah, I think the timing was a little bit unfortunate there, because they were third-partied ultimately by Carthaginois, unfortunately, and tuning into Dark Esports, who are laying down some fire onto Fluke, who goes down, unfortunately. Dark Esports also looking like a really good competitor in this lobby, the likes of Predator, Decimator, this team's from all the way from Mauritius. I've actually seen them compete here and there whenever they can get the opportunity, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how they work it out. And speaking of working things out, the zone's worked its way towards the Countdown Lava Fisher area, so this is going to be a pretty stacked spot moving in to the zone for a couple of these teams to work from. And Omnius Gaming, the previous underrated ZA, what a roster this is. They can be a really big threat to tonight here, Actfire.
Yeah, definitely, especially since ATK has been taken out of the game. It's probably going to give them a little bit on that boost. They can get into a great spot and then, you know, just start to get into their rhythm, into their game. So that probably will be the most important thing for them. But man, I'm still just reading that move right there coming in from man, my English on that name is not just working, but taking out the guys from ATX. So definitely taking out one of the big guns. They will now be looking to see if they can finish up this game, get into that spot, you know, just around Countdown, the zone with that shift right now. A lot of players, you know, just need to now begin to get into that spot. So it's interesting to see how this game is going to finish up, round up. We're down to 40 players left, 15 teams, and yeah, let's see how it goes.
Team making a very deep rotation in the zone from Fragment East. Lots of teams towards the staging side there. So there's lots of fights probably breaking loose there. I can see a couple of teams exchanging some fire. There's going to be a large amount of traffic on that side. Teams like Omnius Gaming are going to be sitting pretty in this kind of position. They'll be able to just hold it down for the majority of the game. And so far, Omnius onto a good start to get a couple of points in this first one. And this first game, you know, we were speaking about it yesterday in terms of where it's situated in the series of tonight. It's like that. It's like jabbing in the beginning of a boxing match. You know, you have to feel out your opponents a little bit. You're not really sure how everybody plays. So this is pretty much that game where you get to see exactly what the lobby's looking like.
Exactly, just basically throw a couple of punches. But you know the thing about it is they got few matches to play when it comes to qualifying to the next stage. So they can't do that for too long. They got to bring out all their guns. They gotta attack as much as they can and get maximum points right now, because you never know you may not just get the opportunity in the coming games.
Alucard with the R99 in hand, dealing a little bit of damage, and Carthaginians seem to just be on a rampage in this throwdown already. Loving what I'm seeing from them so far, and they're gonna be very, very aggressive here. But the Watson is doing well to hold them off, and there's a knock onto Domino. And now it's looking a little bit tough for Carthaginians. Maybe they've bit on a little bit too much from what they can chew. The boys here holding up well in this building. Doesn't look like the res is going to be an option right now for Bard and for Sandbro. So they're going to try play this as a 2v3. Bit of a play is coming through here, but oh, that's a little bit of a misplay, I feel, from the team of the boys with that polarly situated Sandbro able to get a little bit of damage into them. It's a bit of a stalemate for now as things are held off. And the boys are just going to keep fortifying and trying to find a couple of angles that they can work with.
Yeah, definitely. The Carthaginians really proving to be a really strong, impressive team, as we do see that zone shift and about to come in again. Several different teams now need to find their spot in. But I'm really impressed by the way the Carthaginians are playing. Like, they're taking on every single team, playing extremely smart. They do look like a team that has their game sorted out, and they may go on to win this game if they do continue with this pace.
Definitely. Zone closing in. A couple of teams here at landslide. Is that the Death's Joker in the lobby? Oh, it's very interesting to see Death's Joker in here. I actually didn't think he was playing, but here he is. Death's Joker has been in and out of a couple of teams, and he finds himself here with CCP at the top of this landslide, trying to do a little bit of damage from up above. A couple of teams in front of them, so they need to be really careful in this position. But it seems like the team is playing well. They've got that Caustic, Gibraltar, and Wraith combination, so very defensive and aggressive at the same time, the way it seems like they want to be playing this game out. But it's now Rollerz who are on the low ground, just trying to heal up and stabilize themselves.
Yeah, for you, what combination of teams do you think do well the most from the teams that you've seen so far in the competition? Is it the teams who are playing more defensive, or the teams who are more aggressive in their approach?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think it's very dependent on how the lobby is playing out, right? After the first game, you really get to feel the pacing of how things are going, and based on just like what we've seen so far, this is going to be a pretty aggressive lobby, I think. Not too many teams besides Omnius looking to camp up and hold things down. Lots of teams playing edge, lots of Gibraltar players as well, so they're looking to just get some kills along the edge of the zone. But now the team of LITE is taking a lot of damage and players are going down, and it's a massacre out here. It's a battlefield as teams are rotating in and out of the area. You can see so many people engaging in this crossfight, but luckily LITE able to stabilize, get the player up, but they've taken a lot of damage, not much HP to work with, and Rollerz looking to put a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, definitely. The Rollerz looking to get into that spot right there and pretty much take them down. They're looking like they're about to make the move right there, and Smoke Vengeance is about to make that move, get into the building right there. They're going to be taking a couple of shots onto them. Oof. Goodness, it's a massacre there.
Yeah, it's definitely a massacre there, and good job coming in from Rollerz. They're a full console team from the looks of things, so it's really good to see that they're given the opportunity to come here and perform. As we check a quick look at what the zone is looking like, it's going to be a Lava Fisher ending, so there's lots of places for a lot of these teams to play in. 12 squads still up here, and CCP seem to be taking a fight. Big crack coming in from a nade, lobbed by Death's Joker as they swing in for this fight here. The dome is out, so it's going to be a little bit hard to fight with. I wonder if that's an ulti being dropped in this moment, but Death's Joker with the EVA 8 absolutely rolls through them. And that's going to be CCP picking up some very crucial points. CCP definitely a team that we're going to have to look out for. They're looking really good over here, the team. They're looking well balanced, playing some good rotations, taking some good fights on the edge of the zone. Zone is closing in this moment here. Act Fire, and it's going to give us a little bit more information on how things are going to break down.
Yeah, definitely. We do see the guys from Omni just getting into that, sweet spot within the zone, and that definitely is going to change things up for them. let's see how the zone does play out and see how the different teams do rotate in. We're going to see a couple of action coming down. We're down to 11 teams, 30 players left. And the way it's looking, we can't even call it yet. We can't even tell who's going to get that win. Is it going to be Rollerz? Is it going to be Omni? You know, who knows? Who knows? This is really not going the way, you know, we predicted. And that's basically what you do love about Apex Legends. You know, it can go anywhere.
Yeah, Battle Royale in its nature at the end of the day, you know, lots of RNG factors included to it. The team of Carthaginois are making a really good rotation. They're playing well after being super aggressive, and Seth goes down, and it looks like CCP is pulling in. It's the Joker with the EVA 8. He's the Grim Reaper of the lobby at this point, absolutely farming them up, and that's going to be slop out of this game, unfortunately, right now. It does look like Dark Esports is on the opposite side, and there's a defensive bombardment that is going to stop them from making this push on top of CCP, so they will be able to stabilize. Lots of teams making their way into the Lava Fissure right now, as a lot of fights are breaking loose in and around the area.
Man, that move was absolutely crazy from that Joker, man. Just bombarding them. Let's see if he can replicate that move once again. See how it goes. Man, look at how quickly things have changed. We're down to 9 teams, 24 players left, and it's looking wild, man. Who do you think is going to take this one so far? At least we can begin to call it at 9 teams. Come on, Tender. Give me some what you're rooting for.
Right now, CCP is looking really good. Carthaginois are looking really good. Omnius as well. I think right now, those are my bets to probably take this one out. I think they have the most experience in terms of being in these high-intensity situations. So they'll be able to just stabilize themselves, get some comms through the team, and try find the optimal place to work with here. As the zone is closing in, and there is a team still in the countdown area that might start to get gate kept if they don't work their way in. I'm pretty sure Carthaginois must be that team on top of those buildings towards the right-hand side, and it's going to be NODWIN Gaming on those buildings on the left, but somebody seems to be below them right now. They got to be careful about that NODWIN, but for now, it doesn't seem to be a bit of a worry, and it's Don't Stop Gaming who are below them. Nando, Clutch, and Paul, who have just found their way into this final zone, getting those very crucial kill points.
Yeah, one of the fights that I'm definitely hoping to see is, you know, Omni versus Carthaginois, or, you know, the guys from CCP versus Carthaginois. You know, that definitely is going to be aggressive, and I'm curious to see how it's going to be now that the zone is about to make is shifting again. So let's see how it goes. But I do think that CCP in the zone already, right?
Yeah, they are in the zone from the looks of things, or at least close to the zone, and don't have to make a big rotation. Right now, the team that should be worried is Carthaginois. They have a bit of a long rotation to make in front of everybody here, and they might get focused. And it's Strip Apex coming back at the African Throwdown here. They were in our grand finals, if I'm not mistaken, of the Lost Throwdown, so they're looking to make a name for themselves once again, and they're on a good start. As they hold the edge of the zone, they do have to make their way in, and their mobility right now is going to be a little bit hard, especially if they try to use a jump pad, perhaps, to get in. They might have to just make the rotation on foot. Dark Esports in not the greatest positions, but don't have long to rotate, at least right now. I think NODWIN Gaming, with that high ground that they have over everybody, can really plot things out, as well as CCP can really plot things out and see exactly what they're going to do. It doesn't look like Carthaginois made a portal play to try get underneath one of the buildings here. Ice Cream popping off some shots with the G7 Scarlet, connecting for a little bit, but not too much.
All right, just like you said, you know, Ice Cream popping up their shots, doing it once again. They got to make that rotation, get deeper into the zone. They've got a couple of teams around them, and yeah, they got to make that move. He's able to get that kill right there and get to the return fire. He's got to be extremely careful right there, but my goodness. Down to 6 teams, and let's see how they do close this down as we go through. So Drip looking really good right there. They've gotten himself a couple of kills and points. We're down to 5 teams now, and I'm curious to see who takes this one home at the end of the day.
Yeah, 5 teams. Carthaginois in a really tough spot. Zone is closing in on them as well. I think they're just in this position, but they are getting shot from the team of Don't Stop Gaming, if I'm not mistaken, in this situation. They've be able to hold things for just a little bit. They've also got a bit of a zone advantage, and it's Bard who's looking to make a play. Throws an Oxstar, gets the stick as well, so that's going to be huge. The crack comes through, and Carthaginois just going to enter this fight. Clean things up. Carthaginois looking like an unstoppable force right now in this first game. And they're racking up all the kill points, all the placement points they need right now. Who is going to stop the likes of the Carthaginois, the Tunisian team making a big name for themselves in front of everybody here in the African Throwdown. Drip Apex still in this one, holding at the top of the high ground. They have a long way to rotate into this next zone. We've got a rat in play as well. And right now it's looking good for Carthaginois to probably clutch this one up. But look at that. CCP is still in the game. CCP still has a chance to maybe work this out. But for how much longer are they going to be able to hold inside this building? Not much, as the zone's about to close in.
Drip Apex definitely looking to make a move right there as they are popping out some shots, but Carthaginois doing the damage right there on the lobby. If you're just joining the stream, so far Carthaginois were the guys who did take out ATX, who were rooting for in the beginning of the game, but my goodness, they have been putting in the damage right there. So we're down to 4 teams, and let's see who gets to win this. We got CCP, we got Drip Apex, we got Carthaginois. And who's the last team, by the way? Who's the last team?
There's a rat in the middle, ratting things out. There's Apexes, and there's a ulti coming down from the team, and it's going to be a big fight here between Drip Apex and CCP. The knocks are coming through. Drip Apex does confirm a lot of those kills, but now they're weak. They're down a member as well. The rest isn't going to be good, and it's going to be Carthaginois to come and push in to try clean things up. CCP trying their very best to try and hold up, but for how much longer are they going to be able to? And Bard, Sandbro are going to be able to clutch things out. There's only one person left who's hiding at the bottom. It's a solo gamer. Are they going to be able to find him? Have they spotted him out? They're getting the res onto Domino. They're going to have the full roster up. 11 kills right now, and they've clutched it up. Carthaginois, an unstoppable force here in this first game.
My goodness. My goodness. Damn. They've come in right here with the kills. They've done it. They've taken out one of the best in the lobbies and go on. Who else to go on and get that final win? My goodness.
So that came through in the end there. I mean, ooh, Fire, what did you think about that game?
I mean, if you're gonna take out ATX and you know some of the best teams in the lobby, then you do deserve to win. You do deserve to win. They were absolutely outstanding right from the beginning. When they did take out ATX, I was like, wait, what? You know, and how quickly they did it. So yeah, that was fast. That was interesting, and they well deserved from the Tunisian team. The Tunisian, right?
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, as far as I know, it is Tunisian. But hey, I mean, Tendo, I'm glad we learned how to pronounce the names. it came through in clutch.
Yeah, it kicked in. It kicked in.
Tendo, thoughts?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And you know, I was looking through the teams, and I did see, you know, a Sabron on the roster who plays for Australis. You know, a little bit more information about him, and I was thinking to myself, you know, this team is looking a bit dangerous, right? But based on the lobby, ATK, Omnius, you know, I was mostly, you know, looking towards them to maybe clutch this one up. But you know, I think there's a lot of leadership coming into that team. There's a lot of good rotations coming through. The gunplay, the mechanics are on point, and they're looking like a threat. I mean, this is a grand finals ready team at this point, in my opinion. Is
exactly.
Ooh, we're calling things already. So I mean, yesterday I remember we tried to say that, like, listen, we doubt we're going to see another performance like we did from DNMK. You know, where they won pretty much every single game except, I think, one game. Maybe just like one game where they didn't get that W. But ultimately, you know, we saw them with a very dominating season. This time around, obviously, you know, we were looking in Group A, we were looking to Tunes 1 Cheetah for that similar performance, and they were very close in giving us that exactly. Here, do you think this is the team that we should be looking for that dominating performance?
I mean, it's tough to call, I think. Okay?
I mean, it's
Because-
one game, so you've got like little information to work with here. But I'm making you do predictions on purpose.
It's tough because, like, look, ATK went out early to them, obviously, but they were in a bit of a third-party situation. So maybe given a different situation, they might have won that fight, right? You know, I think they just wasted a little bit of time trying to take out that duo that they were up against. I think Omnius was just swarmed by teams on their side of the zone because a lot of teams knew that that was going to still be in the zone and basically the game-winning position, as we can see, right, where Carthaginians pretty much ended things off. I mean, there's still a lot of potential in this lobby. It's hard to say off the first game, but I mean, Amandem walks away with 11 kills in the first game. It's a little bit scary, don't you think?
It's extremely scary. It's very, very scary. And I mean, on that point, let's actually take a look at your MVP for that first map of day 2 for Group B, and it is you called it. It's Sabron coming through from the Carthaginians, and with 12 kills and 2.8 thousand damage, you can see why he's the MVP for our first map of day 2 for the African Throwdown. Absolutely stellar performance coming through. And I can't wait to see what the rest of those maps are going to hold for us, what the rest of the teams, and what's this team right here. My goodness gracious, Carthaginians. That is insane. But with that being the case, we are going to be going to a short break. We'll be right back after that with the standings and talk a little bit more about that. And just give you guys an update about what happened in the first map of day 2. So stay with us. There's still plenty of action right around the corner. Just stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. So map 1 was an interesting one with the... I'm gonna mess this up tonight, so let's just get it out of the way. With the Carthaginians, I think I said that right, actually taking away the win in an absolute stellar performance. But let's take a look at those standings just to remind you of what happened there and get a look at how it is looking thus far. So there it is, 37 points with 25 kills. Absolutely just farming the server today. Ooh, Tendo, what do you think about that?
Yo, my goodness, I might have to get a bit of water right now because damn, that is a crazy amount of kills. I mean, that's the most so far, you know. I mean, it is day 2, obviously, but I mean, wow, they definitely went through that lobby. And yeah, man, I mean, you can't really fault any of their plays. I mean, they played it so perfectly. They took the right fights when they had to take the right fights. They had the right rotations when the rotations had to be called. I mean, hey, man, they're looking like a really big threat. We're going to see the likes of ATK bounce back, you know, Omnius bounce back, not finishing off too well. You know, good to see where a couple of these other teams are, you know, faring off. I think, you know, it's good to see there's a bit of up and down. It's a bit of a shock maybe for a lot of people on stream. I feel like we're also a little bit shocked, you know, coming into this one to see exactly what is going down, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's looking to shape up to be an exciting night of Apex Legends.
Ooh, if it's starting out like this, Group B is going to be not only a tongue twister, but quite a big question mark for us to try and figure out. Because it's scary, like you said. I mean, some of our big names not making it through to that top 10 on the first map. Of course, it is the first map. I mean, it's warm-up, you know, people are getting used to what's happening. Still, there's a lot of expectations around Group B, of course, because we know some of these players. We know these players have the potential to pull off games exactly like that. So we're waiting for them to do the exact same thing. But we're going to go straight into map number 2 to give you that opportunity to check out what exactly these teams, these players have in store for us. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. And I'm going to take the time to say... it's okay, I'm coming back, but I'm going to say goodbye for now, while I leave you in the hands of Tendo and Fire to take you through all the action here on World's Edge. Guys, do what you do. Take it away.
Whew, right. Game 2. All right. It's about to heat up. I feel, yeah, Act Fire. I think, you know, the Carthaginians have an X on their back right now. I'm pretty sure we all can probably testify to that. I mean, if you see what they did in that first game, you probably want to take them out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they have a target on the back, just like you said. The guys from ATK will be looking to perform a lot better than they did, you know, in the second game. Same thing as Omnius. Definitely teams that we do know, you know, have the, you know, aggressive power, you know, to push through and get that win. So it'll be curious to see, you know, them bounce back in this game, you know, try to stamp their foot down. If not, it's down to the last 2 games. So they got to make that move and they got to do it now.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there's still time to do a couple of micro adjustments for a couple of these teams if that first game really didn't work out. I don't want to see as many teams as we saw in Tree in the beginning of the game, you know, where we saw Inexorable Gaming, you know, go down. I think there were so many teams that landed on that south side of the map when they still, you know, a little bit of strip down the middle that they could have worked with. I think a lot of teams maybe need to adjust their landing spots in this next game.
Yeah, definitely. Adjusting the landing spots, you know, picking different spots and then rotating into that zone is what most likely they might prioritize. We might see ATK play a bit more cautious in this game and not go out early, but you never know. They may just meet you know, the Carthaginois again and, you know, get taken out of the game. Another team that we haven't really spoken about is the team CCP, who came in second place, but they did well up until that last moment where they got taken out. But you know, we may see them perform a little bit more. We may see something coming down from, you know, that Joker. So it'll be interesting to see how it does go down, and yeah, I'm curious to see how they do play this in this one.
Yeah, CCP did play quite well there. You know, you can definitely see a little bit of that experience coming in from Death Joker, who I would imagine is making a lot of the calls for that team. But here is the second game of the evening here in Group B in the African Throwdown, hosted by NODWIN Gaming Africa. Guys, there is a snazzy website that you need to go and check out that has everything. There's even an Apex Legends article, you know, maybe in a little bit of the next game's downtime, you can go have a quick little read over there. But for now, let's focus in and hone our sights in for this next game here, Actfire.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, man, then they can go in and check all of those details. But now seeing the different teams landing, you know, they're pretty much spreading. Some teams are spreading towards that north, you know, south region. So they're pretty much faster as compared to the previous game. But we do see some teams, you know, landing around that fragment east, and we might see some early action coming down there. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I did see that OG there's a team on top of them, so I wonder if we're gonna see a big fight break loose there in the staging. But for now, we're at Lava Siphon with Dark Esports, who seem to have found this place as their home, and doesn't seem like they're getting contested as well. And there's a lot of loot to work with here, as we do tune in here to where Omnius Gaming is. They do have a fight going on. They've somehow managed to push their team all the way to the backside here at staging, and they're looking to get aggressive. There goes Astros pushing on down. I wonder if that team is just going to opt to run away. And it's the team of Rollerz, who I think are making a really good decision here, but they better not hang around for too long, because the team of Omnius Gaming just might push them down. They're going to make their way over to Landslide, probably hoping, and hey, lucky for them, there's a little bit of safe haven there. There's nobody that landed, and we are seeing a zone that could potentially end at Fragment East/West. And Actfire, I'm not too sure if you've seen many competitive games where it does pull into that fragment area, but things can get crazy like things here for 69 streamer team, as they are going down and getting out of this one early, unfortunately. But it does look like Fluke's able to get away just with a slither of HP to get out.
Definitely pressing that JP button, getting out of that one, and you know, just trying as much as possible to stay within the game. But now we turn our sights onto another team, and yeah, let's see how it goes. So we're down to 19 teams left, and it'll be curious to see how, you know, they all play this. And yeah, the guys from getting another kill right there. You can see Agu is taking one out, but my goodness, man, Tendo. It'll be curious to see how the different teams, you know, now rotate into that circle. As you can see, you know, now that it's moved, you think you were going to have a Fragment East, you know, zone at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's looking very likely to be pulling towards that side of the zone. Maybe pulling a little bit towards the north side, towards where Epicenter is, Climatizer. Lots of teams are actually congested in that area. CCP right now in Lava City, engaged in a fight. And it's between inexorable, so this fight right here is pretty crucial for CCP to win. Deathstroker taking a lot of damage, but he's going to be able to pop a battery. Tran is also just popping a Phoenix kit, so things are slowing down. And usually these Lava City fights are pretty much like this. It's one team on the opposite ends of this high ground just trying to exchange some damage until there's a little bit of room to maybe work up on. But for now, there's not much room for them to work with, as they are wasting a lot of time as well to make these rotations that are going to be very, very crucial for the team. And maybe, just maybe, the team of Inexorable is going to make the call to just get out of this one and not take up this fight.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, you know, they probably want to prioritize, you know, getting into the zone as quickly as possible, and you know, not take on fights that are unnecessary. They do probably need those points, even more than CCP does. But you see, you know, they're probably just gonna rotate away. As you can see, their Joker and his team, you know, he's probably the leader in that team and just taking them out. But the Carthaginois now, the guys who won the last game, coming into the action and, you know, just trying to get into spots, taking one down. Oh my goodness, getting into the front right there and getting, whoa, they are pushing through just like they did in the first game, getting into the action, getting and taking a couple of players out. My goodness, they look like a team that wants to keep going, Tendo.
Yeah, keep going is definitely what's happening here. So Brown already on 2 kills, and the team is racking the points up here on the north side of the zone by Climatizer. ATK was in this area, but ATK made the wise choice of rotating out and going towards a Fragment East right now. If I'm not mistaken, or maybe they're at Overlook. Actually, they're here at Overlook taking this fight right now. They're looking to get some kill points here, and it's looking good. Krillix takes one down. He's inting inside the building. Caustic Gas gonna be a bit of a hindrance right now, but they are gonna be able to clutch it out. And it's ATK making a bounce back, and look at Krillix doing the things and making things happen right now for his team. ATK making a big bounce back, and a couple of teams still not making their way towards the zone, still over looting. I'd like to say, you know, the likes of that Tree team, that Thermal Station team, that Lava Fisher team need to start to make this rotation in, or it's going to be really tough for them getting into this next zone.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, it's going to be really tough for them. They got to make their way in. But my goodness, ATK looking like a team who's looking to bounce back. And I'll be really curious to see how they do because, you know, a lot of people who were probably just watching the tournament for the first time, ATK finished third in last season. And one of the teams we're looking forward to. But that first game just didn't go as planned. So hopefully, I mean, definitely the plan for them would be to perform a lot better, get into that final circle and get that win at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. It's really all about securing end-game positions or putting yourself in positions that will be beneficial. And yeah, that Geyser area as well. There's so many teams just always congested on one side of the zone. I've noticed, you know, through these group stages, and hopefully that's something that we're going to see lessened as the tournament progresses. Inexorable have made a long rotation now to the Geyser here, who seem to just be chilling, waiting things out, trying to see where the next zone is probably going to pull towards, because they are just on the edge of the zone here, so they can hang around for a little bit before really deciding what the game plan is for them right now. And I mean, hey, I think Gibraltar is a big talking point that, you know, I'd like to get to here. I feel like a lot of the teams with the Gibraltar players have been doing pretty well. You know, they're holding some ground. And look, the zone, we get a bit of a quick read here. It's going to be pulling towards that north side where Epicenter is, where that train station is, that broken train station, I believe it is. So we're not going to see a fragment ending just yet, but this is putting a lot more pressure on these teams on the south side of the zone.
Yeah, definitely. You can see the Carthaginois getting into another fight right there, doing some damage. And my goodness, Sabron looking to get more kills as he's looking to gain more points for his team, man. This guy is off the hook. Whoa, the bombardment coming in from him. And he's absolutely like that one-man soldier that you can depend on. He keeps going. My goodness.
Yeah, but now they've called a third party here to try and ruin their day, but the portal is going to be popped by Domino, so they'll get a little bit of a safe haven. Sabron right now trying to cover with the rampage, but the portal pops just in time to get them into a bit of safe haven, but they're out in the open. There's so many teams focusing them in this current moment. Can they get the res onto board? It does look like it's going to pop through. They will be able to stabilize. They're not out of it just yet. Still 14 squads in this one. Things are starting to pop off here at the survey camp as teams are coming in, and that's just unfortunate. Eh? Act fire when you do all the work and then a team just swoops in, cleans up all your loot.
Exactly, man. But I love the way they're able to stay in a fight, you know, and just get out of a particular position right there with right and just getting to the portal. So yeah, it's really interesting to see how Sabron just takes that charge and takes that lead, and it keeps going. But even right now coming into the mix and, you know, just popping out a couple of shots. This looks like a team that's well rounded with the leadership of Sabron and looking to, you know, just keep getting the kills, popping on some shots right there. Oh my goodness. Man, Tendo, they're a team, they're definitely looking like a team that is not joking. It was not a fluke, that win. They're going to keep, you know, going on and on and on and being totally aggressive.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you're used to competing at the highest level, much like a Sabron is, you definitely have to give it your all through these group stages, these qualifying stages, to make it to that grand final where ultimately everything is going to be decided. Still a lot of teams making their rotation, slow rotations coming in from this lobby compared to yesterday's lobby. So I feel like that's a really big factor to speak about. You know, I feel like yesterday's lobby definitely was a little bit more competitive. I think this one, we've got the Carthaginois kind of running through things. We've got ATK as well on the opposite end. They've been cleaning up a lot of kills towards that overlook side, that right-hand side of the map. Omnius is a little bit quiet. I feel like they're trying to play a little bit more strategically, guarantee some kill points along the way, mainly playing for placement points here. So right now, the lobby, it's a bit haphazard, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely what it is. I mean, and I do think, you know, one of the teams that's really playing well right now, obviously the Carthaginois is, you know, using the characters like Sabron, using his red character like extremely well, you know, especially portaling out, getting a lot of information about the different teams and the positions, you know, and it will be curious to see how they do against definitely teams like ATX, you know, who are looking to get more points. They didn't perform as well in the first game, and yeah, let's see how it goes. I haven't seen much from you know, a couple other teams that we did mention before. I'm gonna just take a look at the names. Rollerz. I'm not sure if they're still in the game, but they're also another team that will be looking to perform a bit more, and CCP. So let's see how it does as they do begin to progress into that center. Zone shifting all the way north. Several different teams now need to rotate in, and it'll be interesting to see how they do fight. But it feels like Tendo, you know, a lot of teams like we've seen a couple of fights, but they're still a bit, you know, a bit more cautious in this game than the first one.
Yeah, cautious is definitely the right thing to say, considering how slow the rotations are coming through. Omnius Gaming now in a really good position, trying to farm up a little bit of damage as they work their way in. There are about 4 teams in this area right now, so they do have to be careful to not get themselves in a third-party situation. They are chasing down the Spartans right now, who seem to be running away, not much like the 300 from the movie 300. And right now, right now, working their way in Omnius Gaming, they are getting a little bit gate-kept. Yeah, they have to fight a team that has some high ground on them. So right now, the rotation in a little bit of jeopardy, and that zone is moving in pretty fast here on them. Backfire.
Oh man, they're in a whole lot of trouble. They got to get those rotations. The zone is moving in quite quickly, and they may just get picked off right here. They got to rotate quite quickly into that zone, but trying to evade the position of that team who is pretty much just trying to keep them gates kept. They may be in a whole lot of danger, but Fortune and his guys look like they're about to get into that zone, so that definitely is a GG's for them. As they've been able to make it in, they will be pretty excited and happy about that.
Yeah, 12 spots still, so there's still a lot of things that could happen. There's still a lot of possibilities. Dark Esports holding up some ground, doing good actually to get themselves central zone. They've got Caustic as well, so they're really playing towards their strength here of just bunkering up and holding position. Charge rifle in hand to charge up their Evo shield, and Decimator, you know, doing exactly what his name says, and decimating a little bit of damage out there, and they're just gonna stabilize, hold things off. It's going to be a bit slow for them. Yeah, I feel, you know, ACFire, they don't have to do much unless teams really want to aggress them. Don't Stop Gaming's on the opposite end here, looking towards them from the high ground, so they need to just be careful, but they're making the play to reposition onto a spot where there's going to be a little bit more for them to work with as we tune into innovated Ivory, who are still in fragment and still need to work their way into the zone.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, they do need to work their way into the zone. They need to get into better spots. And as we now go down to 11 teams, we're seeing action coming in from several different teams looking to get the zone. And Opo T just popping out their shots right there as he's like, where are you going to, man? You're not going to escape. It makes the jump, gets on the floor, trying to get them kills, and they're on that chase for that kill.
Yeah, there's so much action around the map as these teams are trying to make the rotation. And I've noticed zone pools like this really do guarantee for a lot of action because there's so much open ground moving into this next zone. So teams are basically just going to have to go in, guns blazing. A bit worried for this team, not really opting to rotate anytime soon, still in the fragment area. And if they get caught out in the open, it is going to be pretty detrimental for them. But a couple of squads sitting center of the zone there, you know, you can see the likes of Dark Esports are bunked up in that position, and it's CCP that we're tuning into now, and it's Jobo taking some shots with the L-Star, does a little bit of damage. Ooh, Death Joker once again with the Eva A doing an absolute madness, and they're gonna take down Inexorable Gaming. Unfortunately for them, they're not gonna find many points in this one. And CCP again on a bit of a rampage, just like the previous game. I wonder if they're gonna get stopped by the likes of the Carthaginois. But looking right there, do you see it's Idamino who seems to be running as a solo if the rest of the team is nowhere to be seen. So it looks like as things stand right now, they're not gonna be a bit of a problem. But he does have the banners. Big Riz, what are you saying? You think he's gonna do it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But my goodness, CCP coming in right there and taking out Inex. I do feel for them. I do really feel for them because I do feel like they needed a couple more points right there. But we're beginning to see in the map, you know, the guys who are already stamping their feet as the guys who are controlling the lobby and, you know, taking that charge right there.
Ooh, massive beams coming in here from the team of NeoFlux to deal a little bit of damage on the outskirts. OG is going down. Astros is going down to the hands of CCP right now. So it's a fight between OG and CCP. Isn't that a fight of the ages right now in this lobby? That zone is pulling such an awkward spot for a lot of these teams. They're in that top-hand side of the survey camp, and teams are going to start making the rotations. I'm liking what I'm seeing from, I believe that's Dark Esports. They're looking to get a bit of a look on that top side to hold a lot of that high ground of the zone. And high ground is pretty much going to be key here. And there's the plug and play from Idomino. I believe he's going to bring back the rest of the team. ATK still in this one. ATK making the rotation. They've got high ground to work with. And the respawn is coming through here. Bod and Sabron are coming back to help out Idomino. And the Carthaginians are still in this one.
Whew. Definitely, as you can see, Domino popping up them shots right there, trying to add to the kills that they already do have, man. They're looking like it's not a fluke. They're going to get those kills. They're popping up them shots right there. They're ready to take on the lobby and the Carthaginois. They're not looking to just stand on the way by. They're looking to get those kills, control the lobby, control the game as the zone, as they're looking to close out this game. We may just see them get another win again. Are we gonna see the same thing as yesterday, though? And you know, just you know, them coming in and dominating another game, getting another win back to back.
I wonder, but right now there's a bit of a storyline happening. Yeah, HK doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that the Carthaginians are making their way up this hill, but actually I think Krillix does spot out that they could be potentially making this push. They don't have loot to really work with, so this should be an easy fight for ATK to take care of, but Krillix takes a lot of damage. They are kind of in a sandwich right now, ATK, even though they're in a really powerful position. They need to really make a big call, and I think a Kraber shot comes through and gets a knock, so that's going to be Dust engaging into this fight right now. The player tries to grapple away for dear life, but for how long as the ATK is pushing up on them. Prowler shots from Krillix connecting for a little bit of damage, but not too much. Krillix right now, kill leader with 8 kills. Oh my goodness. I swear, you know, these players that come from, you know, that Middle Eastern region to some degree, Turkey, Tunisia, they're really cracked FPS gamers, I've noticed. You know, I even saw in the likes of, like, you know, the game of Valorant, many people know that, you know, the Turkish region, that region really has a lot of FPS gods, I'd like to say, but things right now, it's looking tough for a lot of these teams. There's so much happening. There's some gas here and there. It's Ivory trying to get a res up here. The whole team is basically down, and it's just fire from everywhere. What can you even do in these situations? And Carthaginians again in a dismal spot.
Yeah, definitely. Different teams just taking a lot of fire. Even Carthaginians themselves, you know, need to just, you know, get up a little bit, move up in that zone, get the heels up, and several different teams like Ivory right here, and even Omni, you can see Omni with Fortune and Co getting into the action right themselves, right next to Dark Esports. I'm curious to see how Fortune does play this, and yeah, he finally gets to take out the several different teams around them. It's really looking chopped up right here.
Yeah, it's ATK is controlling so much real estate right now. They've got so much information to really dictate exactly how they want to end this game off. Where's a good spot to work with? OG, all still up right now and we're working well. They're trying to pressure the likes of Dark Esports out of this building to get a little bit of real estate for themselves to work with. Innovated Ivory. Oh my goodness. What is the spot that they're in? I can't even believe that they were able to just vibe things out there without anybody really contesting them. Still 5 teams in this lobby. Things are just going crazy left, right, and center. At this point, we need like multiple streams to cover all the fights that are breaking loose and all these individual POVs that are happening.
Oh my goodness, this zone coming in right there. The guys from Omni need to make their way in. This Dark Esports now be coming out of that position. There's several different teams will be looking to get into the zone quite quickly. We'll be going to be seeing some action coming out. I do think the guys from Omni and Dark Esports are about to get into it. You can see Ivory as well, now beginning to let loose and popping out them shots, taking out a couple of players, but it's going to be taken down. And that would be a GG's going out in 5th place right there. We're down to Omni at Dark Esports, about to get into some action right here. As you do see Predator getting some shots being popped at him. And oh, my goodness, that would definitely be predictor going out of that game right there. Omni getting a couple of kills right here, doing lots work. You got the Carthaginois, you got Omni, and I'm curious to see who the third team is, as Carthaginois are himself taking some shots against ATK. ATK popping some shots. They definitely do want to get the revenge right here. And Tjippies coming in, getting a couple of shots out right there onto the guys from Omni. It is... Ooh. Man, I'm curious to see who's going to win this fight at the end of the days, as Omni is fighting, battling Astros, popping out some shots, trying to get them kills right here. ATX is still not giving up. Kralex getting the knocks right there and taking out the guys from Omni. Sorry, taking out the guys from Carthaginois. It is now ATK versus Omni. And I'm not sure. I do think the guys from ATK have the advantage right here. But who do you think is going to win this one?
Yeah, tough to call because they do get that res up to dust, so it's gonna be a full 53, but the play to jump in is gonna be called by Omnius Gaming, and they're looking to clean things up here. It's Fortune with the flatline doing so much damage, but it's Kralex and Chambi, dynamic duo to clutch it up! Oh my goodness.
We said it, man. We said it. We did talk about it at the beginning of the game. ATK getting that win at the end of the day. We know them as a team
champions
that can definitely get that win. GG's.
Man, oh man. That was hectic to watch. I mean, there was so much fighting in that area, in that survey camp area, and that's exactly what happens in that kind of zone right there, you know, as where there's just so many people, there's no cover to work with, and you just have to basically cover every single angle in and around you. But ATK, prime positioning.
I like how Omni played
really
it.
held on. Yeah, say it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like how Omni played it, especially at the end right there. You know, they probably pretty much just left ATK to, you know, just finish the fight and then come in and try to get them the chance. They might have pulled it off and gotten the win at the end of the day, but, you know, they got a couple of kills and that second spot. So definitely GG's for them at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, they went for the risky business, but it didn't quite work out. ATK were holding on to every angle and holding for that push and made it happen, clutched it out, and they found themselves that win for a very good reason. Well deserved to them. We'll take a look, obviously, at the standings when we come back, but that MVP is going to be a bit of a question mark for them. I mean, just to mention, you know, a little bit, the story of... you know, Carthaginians, I mean, the fact that the res came off, they came back into the game, they even got a couple of pot shots in, and we tuned back a few seconds later, and they're two men down, I think, or one knocked, one down, one out, one still running for their dear life, and it was crazy, but they still had a lot of kills in them. I think I was still looking at Sabron, he had like 6 or 7 kills, the likes of, I think, another had 5 or so. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous how active they were, but... yeah, that didn't quite work out for them. Unfortunately, the winners of our first map didn't find their second win in a row, but we do have a second winner, and of course, we have a different MVP coming through there for ATK. It's Kralex coming through with 11 kills, and one measly little points away from that 3,000 damage. Absolutely correct for match 2, coming through and getting as much as they possibly could there for ATK to get to that W. And I mean... the W, with the amount of kills, I mean, just with Kralex kills alone, they are doing really, really well. So, yeah, that's beautiful to see. Tendo, what do you think about that?
Yeah, man, I mean, that was the ATK show, you know, we didn't really see too much from them, but they're pretty much controlling that north side of the map and that full control of exactly what is happening. They had a prime position of high ground to really scout out exactly all the rotations that are coming through. And I think the problem that really happened in that lobby is so many people thought the zone was going to pull to survey camp, and then it ended up not pulling there, right? And that's what happens sometimes in these pro games, right? So lots of teams will flood in the area thinking that this is the end game, and then they just all of a sudden all running away from the zone, all trying to fight each other at the same time, and ATK is just there once again in that prime position to basically shoot fish in a barrel. And, you know, it's a little bit unfortunate, I feel, for Omnius Gaming, because they were playing really well, you know, considering where they were, the rotation they had to make, you know, coming all the way from south side of the zone. But, hey, can't take anything away from ATK for clutching that one up.
No, it was just a beautiful performance of them to hold on to that. I mean, there was a lot of damage dealt there with that flat line. I was scared. It was just rattling away, and I wasn't sure where that was going to go. And I mean, those are two of the heavy hitters that we're talking about, right? You know, former underrated as a now Omnius Gaming, of course, going against ATK. Those are two very big names in the South African esports scene as well. So it's a very, very interesting story that we saw happening there on match 2 of day 2 of the African Throwdown. But of course, we still have many more coming your way. We still have 2 more maps after this short break. Still a lot of action coming through today that is going to keep you on the edge of your seats, because I know it's keeping me on the edge of my seats. But for the time being, please stay with us. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome, everyone to the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. Now, we are at the halfway point, officially. Group B, they have half the chances left to get themselves into those top 10 slots to move on to the next phase of the African Throwdown. So let's remind you by taking a look at those standings to see what happened in Map 2, who took the #1 spot, who got the most kills, who got a few more kills and more points in their back pockets to get them that much closer. That is the question, so let's take a look at it as it stands. ATK Esports coming through there with the 31 points in first place. And wow, what a surprise. Carthaginois still in second place. They were 23 points with those 16 kills. Doesn't really matter what placement points they're getting at this point, because it just seems like these kill points are absolutely insane. Omnius Gaming coming through in third place with 17 points. Draw 5 in 9 with 9 points in fourth place, which is really interesting because they're actually a team from Madagascar. Carrying a controller player, I like the name, in 5th place with 7 points. Dark Esports in 6th place. Ooh, Ivory coming through there in 7th place. NeoFlux in 8th. Don't Stop Gaming in 9th. And Rollerz in 10th. Your top 10 for Map 2. Now, of course, to remind you, we're only going to be looking at the overall standings at the end of the day. So for the time being, we're just going to go match by match looking at the standings. And you can try and do the math on your own. I'm not going to try and do the math because we've heard and we've seen what happens when I try to work with numbers. But looking at it here, Tendo, unfortunately for some of those teams, they didn't really have the best map 2, but still 2 more maps left. So what are some advice that you can give to some of the teams that were going into the next map? What do they need to focus on? What do you think? What are you noticing that some of the teams might need to work on?
Stay clear of ATK and Carthaginians because because it just seems like they're sucking up all the kills. You know, it's a bit interesting because the contrast to Group A, right? Group A, we saw a very even distribution of where the kills are going, very competitive in terms of who was at the top here and there. Yes, 2 noobs, 1 cheater, we're pulling ahead of the pack. Definitely the outright best in that group, but I feel like today it's definitely there's like 4 top dog teams to be looking out for, and if you walk into those top dog teams, you just point on the board at this point. So it's a little bit tricky right now to give a bit of advice, but keep playing your game, I think, is probably what I'd say, and just try and adjust as well as you can, because there's still 2 more games to make it happen. We saw yesterday from Innovated, it can just pop out in one.
That they can. That can any team hopefully do in this Group B. And of course, as you know it, they only have today to get themselves in that top 10 slot to move on to the next phase. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye as I hand it over to Tendo and Fire to take you through Map 3 and all the action that awaits you. Of course, guys, you know what you do. Take it away.
So,
all right.
Yeah. Time for the 3rd game past the halfway mark. So, usually Act Fire around about this point, this is like the do or die game, right? Because it's this game or else you're coming into that last game pretty much just treading on thin ice if you haven't kind of guaranteed your slot in at least top 5, maybe even top 7, because going below top 7 is starting to be a little bit tricky. You're starting to put yourself in a position where there's maybe this one rogue team that's sitting 20th place that comes through with a crazy game and takes your spot. So right now, a lot of adjustments need to be made from a lot of these teams.
Yeah, definitely. Aside from adjusting, like you said before this game started, one of the teams that they do need to stay clear of is definitely Carthaginians, ATX, the way Sabron and his team plays, they're out to and basically annihilate any team that they come across, except ATX and Omni, of course. Those teams do seem to just match their firepower. And ATX, knowing that they were third party in the first game, came into that game knowing they had to get that win. So I'm curious to see how this game does play out, if the other teams do step up, or if Krelix and his boys just take out that game like they did the second one.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see what ATK's look is going to be looking like in this one. The zone will be a big factor. I feel it's been a big factor so far. Usually wherever the zone pulls, you can kind of call a couple of the teams that are in and out of the area if they're gonna maybe win it, if they'll be looking good towards that any game. But right now, everybody looking to be dropping to where they normally drop, but It does look like Lava Siphon might be contested this time with Dark Esports, unless that team is flying all the way to the Geyser. I believe that should be the team of Inexorable, maybe looking just to go past to Geyser. Yeah, it does look like that is they're playing. A couple of teams in Fragment as well. No one's landing Landslide. You know, I wonder why. I feel like the loot there's a little bit on the short side, and that contention once again is happening there, I believe, with Rollerz and OG there in staging.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One of the things that we didn't really talk about, in the last game was how well, Sabron uses the void with Wraith right there, and how they're able to just get out of those fights, and just make those quick heals. There were times when they could have actually gotten on the back foot, but he was able to drag his team off and basically just get that res on. So it's a really cool play. I feel like it's a determining factor. But let's get into the shots being popped off right here by Omnius Gaming.
Yeah, this time it looks like they're going to be taking this fight in the second game. Rollerz did make a quick rotation to that landslide area, but right now it does look like OG is looking to be aggressive here. Fortune throwing a couple of arc stars and nays to try get a little bit of damage. They turn around the corner and they're working well as a team, but it actually looks like Astros goes down, so now things are looking really tough here for the likes of Omnius. Shambi's in the tough spot to try to clutch this one up, and they're out! Rollerz, the controller team, the console gods at this point in the lobby, take out OG. And that's a shock to a lot of people in the stream right now, I'm sure, but Rollerz are looking really, really good. They're looking like an oiled machine working together there to take up that team fight.
Man, definitely stepping up right there and taking out Omnius. I did see that one coming. I actually thought that, last player right there was going to clutch it, but my goodness, as you can see, they've definitely stepped it up right there. What do you think about this play always coming in from Idamino, probably just scouting around, trying to figure out where different teams are?
Yeah, so, I feel like Carthaginians are pretty confident at this point. I don't think they will not qualify for the next round, so it's definitely cool to see this lurking Wraith role of just like searching, getting information in and around the map. He does need to be careful because ATK is there in that climatizer area, so if he oversteps it a little bit too much, it might be a bit detrimental for his squad. But for now, we are tuning in to Innovated Ivory, who are in a bit of a fight here at Overlook. Sentinel amped up in the hands here of, I believe you say that it's Next Liggies. Bit of an interesting name there. I mean, on the old gamer names, interesting, Ampfire.
Very, very, very interesting, especially Apex Legends names. I just have to say it. Like it's like a lot of players just go like, we're going to give ourselves the exact names that's going to make it difficult for people to pronounce our names.
Yeah, it definitely makes it hard for us casters on the broadcast, but we'll try our best as always to bring you guys all the action. It is the team of LITE who are taking these shots out, and this is a very interesting position that's happening here, but Ivory just snaps onto them. LITE taking a bit of a questionable fight here. Not too sure why they're not playing as a team lifeline player there. Don overextending things. Shadow's in and Shadow goes down, so it's all one player, and Innovated are doing really well here to gather up some points. They're working well as a team. They're sticking together, which is not what we can really say for the team of LITE. And yeah, that's just going to be a quick, easy cleanup for them. Some easy points, and we're down to 17 squads.
I'm definitely not sure spreading out as they did was probably the best decision that they could make. But it does look like, the guys from ATK might be getting into a fight as they're coming in quite close to another team. So let's see how that one goes. You also see Idamino, also scouting that position. So we may see a third party coming in from them on that particular fight, while ATK begins to pop out them shots right there, trying to get the kills. Right in on that back foot, getting a kill right there, confirming it. And oof, definitely getting into the several different fights right there. That Swilka, did I pronounce that well, man?
Indeed, you did. It's Nash. who's stuck in this building. Oh, by his lone self, but luckily he is playing that caustic. But hey, Carthaginians are making their rotation this side. ATK, you better clean this one up quickly, or it's going to be Carthaginians coming in to clean them. But they're doing well. They've retained a lot of HP, so they will be ready for a push if it does come their way. And that's exactly what's happening. It's Idomino trying to throw a couple of Oxstars in the building to try to deal a little bit of damage. I believe defensive bombardment is going to come through from Krillix on top of the building to buy them a little bit of time to readjust. Bod up at the top there has taken a bit of damage. This is a big fight for the tie of the lobby. Yeah, I feel like whoever wins this one is probably going to be the overall leader of this game anyways, the way things have been shaping up between ATK and Carthaginians. Bod taking some shots through the window, doesn't connect for too much damage, but Dust goes down to Sabron, and now it's just going to be Bod with the even 8 shots doing so much damage, and it's going to be Carthaginians now looking to clean up ATK. Not much Krillix can do in this position, and that's going to be ATK winners of the second game, going down to winners of the first game. I'm sensing a bit of a trend here.
Man, it is the same move that the guys from, Carthaginois, did in the first game, coming in with that third party and clearing out the guys from ATK. They'll be definitely really that move right there. But yes, this is definitely what they did need to do. I do feel like they just tracked them down and went out for ATK. Why not take out the guys who are potential or could be potential winners early on and go on into the game and try to win it out? Now they can be comfortable and try to just see the game through.
Yeah, I mean, not really much for ATK to worry. They are doing pretty well for the most part with their points, and I mean, this is gonna be a bit of a rough game, but as long as they have a decent final game, they should be good to go into that next phase of the African Throwdown hosted by NODWIN Gaming Africa. And it's Lava City once again, where we're gonna tune into a fight. Couple of teams on the outskirts there. I saw CCP. Maybe they'll make their way towards the side, and Slop versus Inexorable. Inexorable looking to make an aggressive play to try cover a little bit of ground and try get ahead of this rotation in front of Slop at the top of the building there. And for now, things are going to be steady. Zone is closing in. We do have 13 squads still up in this lobby, as the team will just hold for as long as they can.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that zone shift right now. Several different teams now need to make it all the way into that zone. It's a bit of a distance for Carthaginians. Oh man, I'm still having a tough time. I'm going to spend some time trying to learn that name.
They should at this point, they need to just make like a compilation of you and me trying to say their name, honestly, man. That's just a quick million views at that point.
I'm telling you. But yeah, gotta make their way all the way into Harvester right there. And Don't Stop Gaming now coming into the mix right here, popping out some shots as you can see. And Nando Broziv getting a couple of kills right there. And oof, my goodness, look at that name. Like man, what is it with the names, bruv? What is it with the names?
Oh, man, you do have to create an identity for yourself at the end of the day. And that's definitely what is happening.
Yeah.
Looking towards that south side of the map, there's a couple of teams making a very strenuous rotation. Lots of teams stacked on top of each other. I mean, Inexorable, we've got Slub, CCP. They're going to pretty much collide in this situation. Couple of teams up at the north, but the lobbies died down quite quickly in this third game for the most part. The zone is pulling towards Harvester. Harvester, tricky to work with. There's so many places that teams can pretty much just hide and get a bit of real estate to work with, that it's going to be really tough to see who is going to be the outright winner of this one for now. I imagine the team that gets the most favorable spot in the zone is probably going to be my best bet for the most part to win and clutch things up. We have a rat as well. I think I saw Naz there just ratting things out, so that's a bit unfortunate for his team. And we're tuning into AQUAMEN, who performed well in the first game. Didn't see too much of them in the second game, but here in the third game, still up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're still up in this game. They got to make that move right now. Popping up shots onto Don't Stop Gaming, and we're curious to see who actually does, pull up a shot or two and get maybe another player down. But yeah, definitely does look like the AQUAMEN will just be backing off that one. And the zone's going to shift in a couple of seconds. The guys from I think Nas and his bros are already in that zone. You can already see the Carthaginians already in the zone, looking, not too close to anybody right now. But yeah, we'll be curious to see who gets into their sides right now. It does look like a couple of teams are taking our advice and just staying away from them for now. Due to we still got a couple of teams. We still got 12 teams, but yeah, Nas and his bros might just or Fluke and his bros might just get into a fight with them if they're not careful. But what do you think about this rotation from Carthaginians? Just after taking out ATK to just being, just silent, staying away from a couple of fights.
Yeah, at the end of the day, couple kill points, work your way into the zone, get a good spot. I like that they're hugging edge of the zone. I'm sure they know that there's a team still in Frag East, so I think they're going to just try hug that edge of zone and try farm them up. I love the rotation that Slup took with the Valkyrie, covering a lot of ground, knowing there's lots of teams in the area, the likes of CCP in this area, trying to hold the edge. And Tubo taking a couple of shots with the sniper, connects for a little bit of damage, but not too much. These two teams are going to be in a bit of a stalemate across this train track, and this train track throwing me back to yesterday's game when Innovated ended up winning, and now it's a situation where CCP are going to have to try win this one out against the team in front of them to try and make a clean rotation, or maybe they might have a race portal to guarantee them a little bit of ground, but they are getting shot on the opposite angle, so it's not a good spot that they find themselves in. Luckily, zone is going to pull pretty close towards them, so they don't need to panic for too long. It is AQUAMEN, the team that is inside this train car on top of these train tracks, causing a bit of trouble there for CCP.
Yeah, CCP is one of those teams that needs to, step it up. We've seen them get into a couple of fights in the first game with Dead Joker doing impressive in that one. So, I mean, in the second game, we did see them, just fall out a bit, but it'll be curious to see how they do get into the fight. They might, if they can get into a good spot in the zone, they might be able to cause some trouble for a couple of teams. So we'll be curious to see how that one goes. A lot of teams, just playing it a bit quite cautious right here, just prioritizing, getting into that zone. So let's see how it goes.
There's so many teams by Geyser stuck in the rotation. The boys, one of those teams close by. Alucard, the only one left up on the team. Solo, Gibraltar gonna have to make something happen for the squad. It's Drip Apex laying down some fire. As a lot of teams are starting to rotate, and Idamino gets a knock onto one of the members of Drip Apex. And yeah, Drip's just going down, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Just caught bad rotation, bad positioning for them here, and it's just gonna be a cleanup, I'm pretty sure, here from the Carthaginians to just get them out. And it's the L-Star beaming here from Indamino, and the L-Stars have been such a threat as of late. Not much you can do against that gun as soon as you see those projectiles flying towards you. There's still somebody in front of them, takes a couple of shots, but that is a solo if I'm not mistaken, so it should be the last member from the boys that they're probably just gonna come sandwich up and clean out. Unless I saw an extra scan there. Oh, there's gas coming through, so this is actually a different team, different look here for Carthaginians to worry about. They enter in, Sabron, flatline in hand, can do a lot of damage, but can't really see much through the smoke. Gonna just spam the EVA 8 shots to see what he can find, what damage he can find to work with, but no damage to work with for now. It's 69 streamer. Oh, they're going downtown, and Idamino comes in and cleans them up with the L-Star, and they're out for it.
Man, my goodness, they keep the onslaught going, just as we did predict, getting the kills right there onto 69 streamers and just cleaning them out. Idamino stepping it up right there. You expected Sabron to be the one who will be getting the kills, as we did see him perform in the first and the second game. But Idamino has been that guy who has been scouting out, getting informations, and you see him right there stepping up and getting a couple of kills. So GG's to them. I mean, it's pretty much just shaping up as them being the dominant force in this lobby right now.
Yeah, very big dominant force in this lobby, reminding me of when DNMK ran through their lobby back in the first African Throwdown. Very similar look to the playstyle. I mean, it's a pretty Middle Eastern African playstyle. Actually, if you watch a lot of the ALGS tournaments, they are very kill heavy, they're very aggressive, and that's exactly the energy that the Carthaginians are bringing in to this game. Zone is going to pull pretty far away from them, so they're going to have to farm their way into this, but that's no worry for them as their gun skill is right on par with everybody in this lobby. And Days Bard taking some shots with the EVA 8. After one laying some fire here, not much for Candice to really do up in this position. It's Slop in a tough spot as Idamino climbs up, takes down Candice, and that's gonna be Slop out of this one. And it's just a literal massacre right now of the Carthaginians. I mean, they're running through everybody in front of them at this point.
Man, the Carthaginians just basically farming at this particular point in time. They're taking on team. And now they've got to rotate into the zone. We got 8 teams left, and it's definitely looking like they can actually clutch this and, get that win at the end of the day.
Very true, but there's still a couple of teams here that could prove to be a little bit of a struggle for them. The likes of CCP, I feel AQUAMEN as well have shown what they've got, and they're doing well so far, playing as consistently as they can in this third game. Still squads trying to find their way towards the zone and find some room to work with. You can see Carthaginians making their way through the center of Harvestar. Inexorable is still in this one as well. So they're going to try and make their way in here. Don't Stop Gaming is actually the team that's up at the top here, if I'm mistaken, who are holding this high ground over the team of CCP. Nando takes a lot of damage, needs to be careful here, and actually that's AQUAMEN up at the top here. So we've got 3 teams hugging this side of the zone as the rest of the teams are trying to make their way in. Still 8 squads up.
Yeah, definitely. It's looking like it's going to be a crazy one as AQUAMEN Nexus keeps popping up them shots right there onto several different teams. They do seem to be pretty much surrounded. They've got a couple of teams around them, so they do need to be careful how they do play this. Don't Stop Gaming throwing some projectiles right there onto their position and can do some damage right there onto Nexus and his boys. So they do need to be careful. I'll be curious to see how this one goes as the zone right now is making its play.
Yeah, a bit of a tough angle here for the AQUAMEN, because if they stand too close into the middle, the team of Don't Stop Gaming pretty much has free angles on them, but now they don't have much, of an ability to cover their backs because they can't really have that look. So I'd be surprised if they don't really opt for a reposition eventually. I feel like the team down at the bottom, which is the likes of CCP, is a bit in a better position considering how the zone is going to be ending. We do have a bit of a red cam coming in over here, and Ismailug, who unfortunately is just gonna have to wait things out. Solo's here, so much is happening behind him, and you just can't do anything about it sometimes when you're solo. You just have to wait and try to get as many placement points as you can. Zone closing in the next 45, and we can see the team of Carthaginians making a bit of a rotation to, I wonder if they're taking a fight on that opposite side to try clean things up. Not too sure, but they are trying to get some ground to work with.
Yeah, definitely. Just as you said, Don't Stop Gaming is still holding the position. I do feel like one of them might actually make that flank and get into another position, as you can see, to try to get the kills from another angle. And it would be curious to see how the guys from AQUAMEN do seem to play this. They got to get out of this position because it's not a very good one for them. They can't pop out those shots onto the guys from Don't Stop. So yeah, I mean, they got to make that move now, and because they can't hold onto this position for too long.
Yeah, and Zone gonna start closing in and causing a lot of pressure for a lot of these teams. AQUAMEN still exchanging shots with Don't Stop Gaming, and at this point they are pretty much just trying to exhaust as many resources as they can. Don't Stop is in a really good position. They just need to make sure they cover every single angle, don't take too much damage, and the Carthaginians causing a lot of pressure on top of them. Ooh, the crack comes in from Bard. R301 showing why it's one of the best weapons in the game right now to be using. The team of CCP also needs to make this rotation in, but I think they're just in here in their building. I think they can work for a little bit, but this next zone is going to be pretty crazy. Still 6 squads up. This is the most squads we've had in the final zone like this tonight in this Group B fixture. And Indamino's taking a lot of damage down there. Needs to be really careful. G7 scout shots from Paul, but takes a lot of damage in exchange. And there's just shots everywhere, man. It's like a battlefield.
Yeah, definitely. The guys from Carthaginois, will definitely be looking to make their play, get into the zone deeper, get into a better spot. And it'll be curious to see how they do play it. You got the guys from Don't Stop who have that kind of sort of like heel advantage up against the guys from AQUAMEN. They're still popping up them shots, but I think a jump onto the location where AQUAMEN are, and we do know the Carthaginois can actually, get into that spot and make that kind of play. CCP is also at the bottom right there, just chilling for now, and might begin to make their move at any particular point in time. So I'm curious to see how this one ends. It does, look like, just a minute of stalemate right now. It's just, sending out, shots onto each other. But the zone's definitely going to make that play, and they got to make that move pretty soon. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, good. Carthaginians in a pretty tough position to kind of rotate in once that zone closes off this building. So they'll have to work as well as they can to find some cover, and they don't have a Gibraltar, so it's going to be hard for them. But for now, they're making it work. Right now, the team that I'm looking at that's got a really great spot to clutch this one up is CCP. They've got that door to work with. And, Carthaginians, they're taking so much damage on this rotation. Bot's almost looking to go down. The team of AQUAMEN is still on the high ground, trying to pop some shots right now. And everybody's gonna have to start moving. Gibraltar ulti's also being popped from the top here. Don't Stop Gaming looking good here in this position for now. They deal a lot of damage as they try to work their way down. They find a bit of a spot to work with. No one's really focused on their position. The likes of CCP have gone down as well. Carthaginians behind this. And Don't Stop Gaming are making the play to go in, and they're taking this fight. And are they going to win it against the big bad wolf themselves, the Carthaginians, as they try to evade and to run away as much as they can? But look at a heavy Guacamole just camping things out as the solo to try and sustain for as long as he can. Don't Stop Gaming looking good to clutch things out. And it's just Guacamole here. Don't Stop Gaming is going to clutch this one up and be the winner. But Guacamole is doing a lot. He's doing so much. Can he win this one up? But no, there's no HP to really work with. And that's going to be Don't Stop Gaming to clutch it up.
Whew. My goodness, just as you did say, the guys from Don't Stop Gaming coming in right there with that final clutch and that final win. At some point, I did think the guys from the Carthaginois were going to take that one, but Don't Stop Gaming held their position, and they just were able to spot everyone and just finally just go on that offense and take the game home. So GG's to them.
I'm so sorry for this pun, but Don't Stop Gaming, don't stop winning. Absolutely brilliant game 3 coming through. I'm sorry, I had to say it. But yo, that was an insane series coming through. Carthaginians as well, again, picking up a ridiculous amount of kills. So regardless of the fact that they didn't get first place, I think we'll be seeing them in that top 3 regardless of where they came through, just because of kill points. So that's terrifying, actually. That is so scary. You can see the confidence coming through from teams like this, and that's so beautiful to see. I mean, Heavy Guacamole, they're really trying absolute best there to try and stay alive. Even took one down, nearly took the second down, but it's a 1v3. The odds are stacked against you. Beautiful game. Fire, what did you think?
I felt like they could have actually taken that game. The only thing that was against them was just their positioning. They had a couple of teams, just popping out shots to them. AQUAMEN was sending shots down to them. CCP was also, taking a couple of their health, and Don't Stop Gaming just capitalized on them. Dropped on them and just took them out of the game. But they still battled hard. They still tried in that fight. But at the end of the day, it was just too much for them.
It's a lot of damage, and as Tendo mentioned, positioning wise. It was a different story. It was a different story this time around. We've seen teams, how they've capitalized off of that stellar positioning. I mean, Vibin yesterday just had one of the best pillar points that they ever could, to just sit and beam, absolute beam the rest of them. So positioning, absolutely crucial, as we all know it. Tendo. When I asked you for advice about what team should do for the third map, and you said they should stay away from ATK and Carthaginians.
Yes.
How do they run away fast enough from the Carthaginians? That's my question.
Oh, man. I don't feel like there's really an answer, to be honest with you. I mean, they're playing at their mechanical best right now, taking up any and every fight. It doesn't matter who you are. Clearly, ATK is, an indication of that. I mean, they came in for that. ATK did hold up pretty well as well to take up that fight, but pretty much if you're in their path, they're going to try and run over you. Yes, they will get overwhelmed. We did see that in that final zone where the play from Don't Stop Gaming was great. They had all the positioning, and when you have to make that play, call that play, it works out pretty well. There was nobody really focused on them, and it pretty much ends up winning their game. So, yeah, it's final game, and I think it's going to have to be a slow one from the rest of these teams. I think if you play into the fast pace, you're going to play into the Carthaginians, right? Because they're playing very fast paced, right? So the counter is to obviously play slower so that they are playing too fast in the lobby where they're putting themselves at a disadvantage because everybody else can kind of team up against them in a sense, right? Because clearly that's the only way to get rid of them, right? Third party is the only way. I mean, Apex Legends, am I right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely did see that.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
You absolutely did. No, it's okay. It happens. Let's take a look at the MVP for the third map of today. It was a stellar performance, but let's take a look and see who did the best this time around. Ding, ding, ding. It's going to be Nando Broseph coming through there for Don't Stop Gaming with 7 kills and a total damage done of 2,141 points of it. Absolutely beautifully played there for the third map. Our MVPs are looking stellar today. We've had some different MVPs thus far. Tendo, what do you think about that?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely really good to see a diverse MVP pool. You don't want to see the same player kind of rolling in the lobby and getting MVP for the entire day because it, can be a little bit demotivating. But it's good to see, the likes of Nando, the likes of Don't Stop Gaming, working hard, knowing that these are crucial games for them, to qualify. And I mean, off that last game, they're pretty much sitting pretty. They gotta just calm things down and control this final game so they don't end up being one of those teams to go out first.
Well, here it is. That doesn't look right. I saw 2 noobs on cheater there. Hold on a second here. I know this day has been going a little bit too quickly, but let's just wait for that to fix up. But yeah, I do think that I am hoping that the last game is going to be a little bit slow. You mentioned if you do try and go for that fast-paced action against the Carthaginians, it doesn't really work out. And there's the match standings for match 3. Once again, Carthaginians on top of it all, even though they did not get the win, because they go and they get 21 kills to just farm up those points. Don't Stop Gaming coming through in second place with 25 points. AQUAMEN staying in third place there with 14 points. And before I go on, can we just look at the disparity of kill points between our top 2 teams, or rather just the Carthaginians, and the rest of this leaderboard? It's insane. It's absolutely insane, and I feel like we're going to be talking about this for a while, but let's look at the rest of the leaderboard. They're carrying a controller player coming through in 4th place, NeoFlux in 5th, Dark Esports in 6th, Spartans coming through in 7th place, Ivory coming through in 8th, Rollerz in 9th, and ATK Esports in 10th place. That's a weird sentence to say, but there it is for the time being. So once again, overall standings will be at the end of the stream, but for the time being, it's match by match. It's trying to do math in your head to figure out what is happening on this stream. For everyone watching, thank you for staying with us. We are going to be going to a short break, so please stay with us. The action is right around the corner. And of course, you want to find out who's going to be going through to the next phase from Group B, right? You want to know who those names are. You might have a few in mind, but maybe they won't make it. Maybe they definitely will. Who knows? Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome everyone back to the Apex Legends Throwdown. It's going to be an absolute crack of a game as we have one more map for Group B to find themselves a potential slot in the next phase of the African Throwdown. So, it's going to all come down to this last map. But before we go to the last map, let's remind you of what happened in the previous map. The standings as they were, in case you got a little confused. Especially with our pronunciation. It's been a rough day. It's been a rough day. But the Carthaginians coming through there in first place with 28 points. But yeah, if someone from Carthaginians can just tell us if we're saying this right or not, because we're having a little debate off stream and we're not quite sure anymore. Don't Stop Gaming in second place with 25 points. AQUAMEN in third place with 14, carrying a controller player in fourth place. NeoFlux in fifth. Dark Esports in sixth. Spartans coming through in 7th place, Ivory coming through in 8th, Rollerz in 9th place, and ATK Esports rounding up your top 10 for the third map of the day. The question is, what are those overall standings going to look like? Now, we had a bit of an interesting one. We had a lot of our top teams actually get taken out early on in the third map, which did mean that obviously we had a different top 10. It means we had a different top 5. It means we had a different set of winners, but also it means that's an interesting story for that overall leaderboard. Endo, I'm going to ask you now because I like making you make predictions that you don't make. What are you thinking about some of the teams like Omnius Gaming, ATK, you know, some of the teams that we were really looking out for?
Man,
you think they're going to make it?
It's tough, man. I think they will make it, definitely. I think they've been consistent for the most part. They've been heavy hitters, you know, especially ATK, cleaning up a lot of, you know, kills in that second map. So for them, at least, you know, really in a 4-game series, right? It's not like a 6-game series, you know. 6 games is a lot to deal with, right? You know, we really only be getting into like that second phase, you know, of a 6-game series, whereas 4-game, it's really always just one good game get you into the top 10, right? I think a lot of pro teams can testify to that one good game will pretty much guarantee you in there. And I think we've seen a good game both from Omnius, from ATK, you know. I mean, the likes of Omnius, though, need to improve a little bit here and there. That fight at staging, man, it was interesting to see Rollerz win that one out. I feel like a lot of us probably put them as our favorites to win it out. But hey, man, there's a reason why Apex Legends was like year 2 ALGS. We're including the console army because they're yet to play and they're yet to be a threat. So I'm interested to see, you know, what more is going to come from a lot of these console players. But for now, I feel like the storyline is the Carthaginians. And do you think they're going to win this final map here, guys?
Oh, yeah, that is the question. That's going to be a very interesting question that we're going to find out in this last map of the Apex Legends African Throwdown. Of course, I'm going to give it over to Fire and Tendo to take you through this map. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. You're going to watch out for your teams that you are following and that you are supporting. But the last map is underway. Guys, please take it away for the final time today.
Well, it's the penultimate game for a lot of these teams to try and make their way, to bounce back, to guarantee themselves into that semi-final, man. And yo, there's a couple of teams that are really treading on thin ice here, I feel, today. ACTFire, I don't know, do you have any teams that you really want to see come through with a lot of fire, a lot of passion, excuse the pun, to come into this final game?
Yeah, definitely. Teams like ATK, Omni. I mean, although they might be sitting comfortably in the overall leaderboard right now, but you never know if things do change up, and some of the teams that are on that lower deck, you know, go on and get that win in this final game. So they can't just, you know, be complacent and just feel like, you know, we've done well in a couple of games and just sit it out through. They gotta make their play. They gotta, you know, try as much as possible to get up. Because I would love to see teams like ATK go on into that qualification and, you know, continue to show, you know, what they're all about. I feel like ATK have got the firepower to prove that they can be a dominant team. Carthaginians have been, you know, stomping the entire lobby today because of their fast gameplay and how they scout around. But ATK is another team, you know, when they do get into the right positions, they can grind it out. So yeah, I'll love to see them step it up.
Step it up is definitely going to be the storyline for these teams to guarantee themselves into that semi-final. I mean, it's a short tournament, but the journey is definitely long. I mean, you come out of this Group B after what hey, you know what? We know who we're talking about at this point. After what they've done in this lobby, coming into that semi-final game, confidence is going to be a big, a factor for a lot of these teams. Will they feel confident coming into semi-finals, knowing how tough it was for them in this group stage? But for now, it's the final game of the day. Apex Legends African Throwdown, hosted by NODWIN Gaming. Fire, the teams are dropping in. Do you think we're going to see these teams keep the same spots, or is this the game where they're like, yeah, let's change where we got to go?
I think you can already see the Carthaginois, going towards their, favorite spots right there around survey camp. You also see the guys from ATK keeping the same spots. I think they're just keeping status quo, as far as I can tell. Seeing the previous games that we did play. So yeah, they're pretty much just going to keep that one. And that might actually be dangerous for ATK, because Idamino, as we saw him scouting the last game, might, just understand their drop zone now and decide to just make that play onto them like they did in the previous game.
Yeah, definitely, man. I feel like in this game, I'm looking at the likes of, Innovated Ivory. They've been having a bit of a rough time. I feel Drip Apex as well. We haven't seen too much from them. I don't think they've been getting too many points on the board, and to not have one of our grand finalists from the last throwdown make it into the semifinals is going to be kind of tough. And speaking of Drip Apex, as if I've cost the curse them, as it's Rollerz who have changed their drop spot just a little bit, but they are going down to the hands of Drip Apex here. So now things are starting to heat up. It's Lucas to come in and try to take up this fight. In fact, the whole team's moving in to take up this fight, to clean this fight up, and they're doing good to get the likes of Rollerz down in a tough spot here as they back off. There's two of them still up. They can still maybe work this up if they try reposition and readjust into this fight.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't look like the guys from Drip will be pushing them hard to get those kills, but Rollerz just backing up from that fight, looking to, just stay in the game and, not take that one. They probably do need the points, but you can see the zone right now shifting towards that southeast region, and we may just see in half a star, end to this game. Several teams like ATX might need to get into it, but CP not getting into that fight as Trackwheel. I'm just going to call it Trackwheel. Trackwheel Fen is getting into the fight, chasing out, I do believe that's the guys from LITE, and getting the kills right there. CCP, another team that we talked about, they came third in the last game, got a couple of kills, and yeah, they've been steady, they've been consistent, both in the first game and the third game, getting kills and placement points.
Yeah, definitely. They've been pretty consistent, and consistency at the end of the day will win you those points and keep you advancing in this throwdown. And this zone is got a lot of people in it already, so I imagine a lot of teams are probably not going to look to move around too much. So we'll have probably a lot of squads in this final zone. So I think we talked about this having to be a slow game for a lot of these teams to just kind of counter the pacing that the Carthaginois have really put up into this lobby. So I think that's exactly what's going to be happening. AVERAGEJOES, who is another team that hasn't really been performing. So for them, this is one of those games where it's do or die, for AVERAGEJOES, or else they're gonna have to be in the chat room watching on as the rest of the teams progress in this African throwdown. ATK making the rotation down through the epicenter, down in to fragment. The Carthaginois are going towards Skyhook, and it's inexorable who need points, man. They need points, or else it's going to be wraps for them. They've been going out early. They've been coming out without any kill points as well. So it's kind of tough for them right now, I think, yeah, Fire.
Yeah, definitely tough for them. There's something that we probably, didn't take note right there on the map, but it did feel like the guys from ATK were trying to pay back onto Carthaginois, and they went to their location in survey camp, but apparently Ibad and his boys had already left that spot. So, yeah, maybe a hunt coming in from ATK, trying to see if they can take them out early on. Who knows?
Yeah, they kind of going to get into this traffic here into Fragment West, where they're pretty much all going to be stacked on top of each other. I mean, for ATK, for Carthaginians, I feel like they're not too worried in terms of going out early in this final game. They've pretty much secured themselves to advance. The zone's going to be pulling towards the tree side, so a lot of teams are actually going to be making a big rotation here. I mean, look at that, Actfire. How many teams are on that north side of the zone? They have to come through so many chokeholds that are going to be so detrimental towards them to come and find a final position to work with. But now tuning in to the lobby leaders, the big bad wolf of the lobby, the Carthaginians, as they're working their way in here to this construction building, and it's the boys who are in here. They get scanned, so now it's gonna be Idomino to drop down in and chase down the poor Octane. Oh no, he's running away. We're not getting to see any of it, but here we are. There we go. He's beaming him out of the sky, and that is going to be very unfortunate for Alicard. Going down to the hands of the Carthaginians. It's just, you run into them, you're bound to go down at this point as they clean things up there. But the rest of the team is still up and making their way out. So for now, it's just one that went down on the side of the boys. The rest seem to have managed to make it out.
Man, definitely. You know what we said throughout, especially, you know, during the break. You gotta stay away from these guys. You know, Idamino and, you know, Sabron are not joking. So you want to stay alive as much as possible. Don't get into their hairs. But it does look like ATK and, you know, the guys from Carthaginians are going to get into a fight pretty soon. See how it goes.
Yeah, man, there's so many teams stacked on top of each other. Can barely read any of the names the way these teams are stacked on top of each other. Speaking of team that is in a bit of a fight here, it's NeoFlux, and you've just jumped down onto an Arcstar swing, and it's not looking good right now. One is down. It's all up to Niv to try and clutch things out. Rampage gets the one knock. Is this a 1v1? It could be a 1v1 right now. He could clutch this one up for you. Seem to keep them in contention to keep going in this tournament. But no, it's not looking good for NeoFlux. We'll go down to Drow, and Drow sitting pretty right now after getting those kill points. Only one member going down. Going to get a lot of loot as well. They're close to the zone. They're doing well for themselves to keep themselves in this conversation to move in to the semi-finals. As things stand, we have 16 squads up here in this Group B game. The final game of the night is we'll get a quick overview of what is happening in and around the map.
Yeah, take a look at that map right there, shifting all the way south, going towards Tree, and several different teams now need to make those rotations. Again, it does look like this map, you know, just favor the guys who were sitting around that southern, southwest, and southeast region. And yeah, it's just telling all the other guys like Carthaginians, like ATK, you got to make your way in to that zone, and they got to make that shift. They got to make that move again. You think that's going to favor the guys like ATK and Carthaginians, or it's going to make things a whole lot difficult for them as they do try to beat through all that crowd?
Yeah, luckily for ATK, they've probably snuffed out the danger. They're making a very fast rotation to get themselves into the gray zone. It's Slap now who as well need some points on the board if they want to be in this conversation for the semi-finals right now. As one of the console teams that unfortunately hasn't been hitting as hard as the Rollerz, but rotations are being made in and around the map. It's inexorable on the edge of the zone here. We seem to be in a tough spot at Thermal Station, and you know, the one critique I'll give inexorable is they don't have really good rotation looks, and OG is flying on top of them in terms of getting this high ground to work this fight. And if this team wants any hope of making it through to the next round, they're gonna have to get out of the situation, get themselves into a good spot. Dark Esports, who found their home in Lava Siphon, are being evacuated by Slub. We're looking to cause a lot of pressure on towards them, but for now they've backed away. They'll be able to hold things off, but Slub isn't letting loose, and it's going to be set. And he's taking a lot of shots, but he's taking shots back and has to fall away to get a healer off. And Candice with the R301 in hand, trying to do a little bit of damage, but Breto gets knocked from behind, and now things are looking grim for the likes of Slub as ATK is pulling up.
Oh, definitely not making it easy right there for Slap as they are getting some shots right there, even from the third party, with ATK now pulling up, trying to clean this one out. They want to make their way into the zone. Chamber, you can see right there, they're jumping in right there, and he's going to make that move onto Sir and his teammates. Oh, Zed gets him really damaged right there, and ATK just coming in right there with the cleanup and able to take them out. My goodness.
Man, unfortunate rotation there for Slab, being a little bit too aggressive. Dark Esports, you can definitely see they have got their strats down. They know exactly when to evacuate the situation, and evacuate they did. They're in a bit of a tough spot there. There's so many teams stacked on top of each other on that south side of the zone, and nobody is going towards that tree. Nobody's looking towards the end game for now. Everybody's kill focused. Carthaginians, though, pretty quiet, making slow rotations, and it's kind of weird, right? Because I was talking about, you know, everybody in the game having to slow down so that Carthaginians would be the team playing really fast and then they'd be caught out. But it seems that everybody else is playing really fast.
And they're now the ones, you know, just taking it slowly, you know, just trying to build in. I don't really understand. It's like they're actually listening to you and, you know, listening to your points and just deciding, you know what, we're just going to take it slow right here. But you can see the guys from TCP getting into a fight right here against the guys from ATK and just popping up them shots. These are two teams that actually do make the points right here. You can see ATK getting into that battle and Chambry getting into that final one versus Judo Salman is able to take him down. ATK putting in the work right here. They actually are getting aggressive.
Coming in to get this third party onto ATK, and ATK is in a tough spot. I think they're gone. They're out of here. They've tried to evacuate. Krillix is down there on a slither of HP, trying to survive it for their team. For how long? He's running into another team. Has to pop the Phoenix kid. Has no option here. Needs some HP to work with. Might get shot through the door. That'll be tragic. If he is, and he is shot, and ATK is out. Unfortunate scenes as they take up that fight and clean things up so nicely. AQUAMEN swooping in like floodgates and just cleaning them up.
That was really unfortunate for ATK. I mean, just after they had done so well against the guys from CCP, they just came in right there, and you know the Aqua guys just came in and just clutched them. Man, my goodness. Well, I do really feel for them, but at least this time around it wasn't Carthaginois. It took them out. So,
that's pretty unfortunate to see the likes of Spartans going down there. Drip Apex is still in this one. The zone pool is really hectic for a lot of these teams to try and manage themselves here. But for now, everything's going to calm down. We've got 10 squads in this zone still, making things happen. The Carthaginians are in a bit of a tough spot inside the zone. Yeah, Drip Apex trying to take up this fight, but no, Idomino's gonna have the upper hand. Gets one knock. It's a tough spot right now. Lucas on a slither of HP dies to the zone. Oh no, it's all up to Seth to try and clutch it up for the team. Maybe Rez is an option here. Doesn't look like he has any heat shields to work with. Bod trying to pop some shots here at one of the teams, and the team looks like they're going to be inting here. Mr. Titan's coming in for Bod. Where is he going to run? I wonder if he's the last member up on the Carthaginians. No, him and Domino are still dynamic, doing things up, but no, it's just Domino. Has to swoop in. L-Star in hand, has been a threat so far. Probably one of the best Wraith players in the lobby right now, and he comes in. Prowler's doing a lot of damage. Can he clutch this fight up? It'll be amazing if he can, but no, he can't. And he goes down, and the Carthaginians go down, yeah, at 10th place, unfortunately for them. But hey, they're in those semifinals. They can just watch on for the rest of the game here at Fire.
Man, it has been a different kind of game for them, right? I mean, they decided to play things a really slow way, you know, in this one. And I do hear the name might be Carthaginois. So, I mean, we don't really know. Correct us right there. In the charts, but yeah, I mean, really interesting to see different teams now stepping it up. Two big boys, ATK, Carthaginois, have been taken out of the game. So yeah, we're gonna have a new winner this time around.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think today is looking like the day that OG will be able to clutch things up. Unfortunately, Sub had to roll in. It does look like Shambies wasn't able to extend his time here with us in this Group B, 4th game in the African Throwdown, hosted by NODWIN Gaming. There's one team currently inside tree trying to hold things up, and a lot of teams on the outskirts still trying to plot some rotations, trying to get some loot and get themselves working in well. AQUAMEN been a big threat these last 2 games. They've really performed. They've really come out of their shell, and they're showing that they want to be involved in the semi-finals. And thus far, they've done well to pretty much put themselves in that position to walk away in. There is a drop there that could be interesting. I haven't seen any Kraber plays done so far after that clip we saw yesterday from Hayes shooting through these train cars exactly where we are, but some shots are coming through from that fence there onto AQUAMEN. They need to be pretty careful as everything is slightly quiet in the zone right now.
Yeah, definitely. We're waiting for the next zone to see how it's going to shift. But AQUAMEN have been doing the work right here in this game. They've taken out ATX, taking out some of the big boys. So it'll be curious to see how they do finish it up as we're down to 9 players. The next zone definitely going to determine how things are. Popping in some shots onto the players right down there, and yeah, we'll see how things go.
Big rotation with the jump pad that they want to make. There is a team there. I know Dark Esports, I did see their names around that area, and Dark is definitely a force to be reckoned with. No, they're actually on the back end. The AQUAMEN is aggressing this fight. They take down one. It's Mr. Titan, looking exactly like his name, a Titan, a force to be reckoned with, taking players down, taking names, adding points on for his team. AQUAMEN, they're really shaping up to be a formidable force for this final game for a couple of these teams that are looking for those extra points to try guarantee themselves inside this top 10 to advance. 8 squads, and they're all positioned, scattered around the map as it stands. No one's really in that center zone. There's a couple of teams on this high ground as well, and everything's a little bit quiet as everybody's trying to make their rotations in 40 seconds before the zone does close, so there's still a little bit of room to work with. We do see Drip Apex there. Drip's doing really good. Drip needed these points here, Act Fire, to try conjure something up so that they can qualify for the next round, and maybe, just maybe, they're doing enough.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, maybe they're doing enough to try to get that qualifications. You know, just like you can see on the map, there's not a lot of teams in that center. They're just pretty much playing the cautious at this particular point in time. But they gotta move in. They gotta get into the spots, take those fights on before it gets really choked off. So yeah, I'll be curious to see how Lucas and his boys begin to play it right now. They're putting some shots onto Fluke and Drogon, and sending some projectiles right there. To be curious to see how they do play it, keep it going, and yeah, it's not able to do a lot of damage so far, but they do look like they're making that move right now as Ice Cream and his boys are just circulating that position right now, just trying to take on some information about their positions, and they can get into that spot right there. But 69 streamer trying as much as possible to hold it up right here. As you can see, Young Dragon and his boy trying as much as possible to stay alive in this one, to hold them back.
This is a big game for 69 because they haven't been able to collect too many points, just like Drip Apex. So for them, they need to stay alive for as long as possible here. Act Fire, or else it's going to be curtains for them. AQUAMEN are going to be a bit of a nuisance for these two teams. It does look like Drip Apex is going to be caught in a little bit of a sandwich. There's an ulti that's getting popped here. Gonna have to back off from this for now and stabilize. Still 7 squads in the situation, and AQUAMEN have just swooped in to clean up a couple more points for them, and they're doing so well right now. And Drip Apex also doing just as good. They're trying to get 69 out of this position, getting into the zone, taking a lot of shots here. Ice Cream melts them just a bit, but not enough. But everything is stabilizing right now in these fights.
Man. AQUAMEN are another team that's really looking tough. Dark Esports trying as much as possible to fight right there, but don't stop gaming. As we saw them come in right there with the win in that former game, get to the clutch right there, and we're down to 5 teams. Don't Stop is another team that's just slowly creeping it, right? Imagine if they can get that win in this game, and they may just be seeing themselves sitting at a really top spot in the overall ranking.
Yeah, big beams coming in from Nando here. And Nando's competed in a couple of scrims here and there, so you definitely know he's leading the team with a lot of experience, and you can definitely see it's to a big advantage for them right now. It's Drip Apex sitting there in the middle. We've got the likes of 69, We've got right there. Whoa, 16. Whoa. Drip Apex is making an interesting move to jump pad on top of AQUAMEN. And is this going to be a fight that's going to transpose? And it is. It's Drip Apex trying to get into a good position here. They're finding that loot that AQUAMEN had left over. AQUAMEN aren't really looking to aggress. The zone is also a bit tough to work with. Don't Stop Gaming right now won't stop peeking at any angles as Nando taking some shots with the R301, absolutely melting the likes of 69. Is this enough? Is this the end for 69? It looks like it. 4 squads left. They go down, unfortunately, in this situation. Don't Stop Gaming, Drip Apex. We've got a solo player there on the top, ratting things out, getting points. And, of course, we've got AQUAMEN still in this one as well.
Man, we're down to our final spot, and several different teams. We got Drip, we got AQUAMEN, and we'll be curious to see how they do finish this one up. But bleeding out right there. Don't Stop Gaming doing what they do best, taking that high position and just spamming them shots right there, trying as much as possible to get the several different teams. And this is what they did in the previous game, getting that win at the end of the day and making that final move, where you can see Mr. Tyson just making that jump right there. Keen, Nexus, and Co trying to get into a better spot, and Don't Stop Gaming just still holding the position, trying to farm out them shots right here. Who is going to take this one home?
Drip Apex back against the walls. They don't have much options to work with around this cover. They're gonna have to move first against all these squads. We still have that solo that could be a really big nuisance right now for these teams as they try to work their way in. AQUAMEN have a really powerful position, but this car can always be really troublesome when it comes down to it all. It's Drip, Don't Stop Gaming all the way at the top. Drip Apex making this rotation on top of the train tracks, but I don't think they know that there's somebody up there. They do actually, they managed to take him down, so that's a really good play to get some extra kill points. They're gonna have to drop down to where AQUAMEN are. Don't Stop Gaming have this high ground, they can work with it. Things are slowing down as the zone starts to pull in. It's not great cover that Don't Stop Gaming have here, but they're gonna make it work. Sir goes down. Unfortunately, it's all up to Lucas now to try clutch things up for Drip Apex, but for how long can he hold on? It looks like Don't Stop Gaming is trying to get involved here. Everybody's in this fight. AQUAMEN holding things down here. It's like a tank that they're trying to fight and defend. They even 8 shots from Nando connecting, but for how much damage? Not enough to clutch things out just yet, but they're doing so much. There's a Horizon ulti. People are going down left, right, and center, and Don't Stop Gaming clutch things up from the high ground position.
Doing exactly what they did in the last game, coming in that final spot and just wiping out every single team. Man, the chaos that was going on right there, I didn't know who was going to get that win at the end of the day, but Don't Stop did it. They got their second win, and they may just be looking to be in a strong spot in that overall leaderboard.
I'm not going to make the joke this time. I promise.
No, do it.
Yeah, it's okay. I won't do it. I want to, but I won't. But DSG coming through with the W for the last map. Woo! That is such a stellar performance coming through from everyone in Group B. And now it is done. It is complete. All the chances left to find a spot in that top 10 for the next phase of the African Throwdown is done, dusted. It's over. If you didn't make it, you didn't make it, unfortunately. While we wait for all of those maths, those things to be calculated, let's chat a little bit about today's games. Obviously, Carthaginois, as it is apparently said. Again, I don't know, someone needs to confirm, maybe from the team themselves. But if it is Carthaginois, they really put on a performance today. Definitely one of the teams that we are looking forward to for the next phase, because at this moment in time, there's not a doubt in my mind that they're going through, but what I do want to know is who else is going to be joining them. Obviously, DSG, really, really good performance coming through from them as well. They were very consistent, picking up 2 games. Surely another team we should be seeing. Tenda, from your side, who else are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm sure ATK is there. The likes of Omnius is there. You know, they performed pretty well today. I think Drip probably did enough in that final game to probably guarantee themselves a spot in that next game. So it'll be good to make sure that they continue the reign in the African Throwdown as grand finalists once before to make it all the way there. But I think a lot of the teams that we saw performing, CCP should be up there, up at the top. I think you can pretty much call it out in terms of teams that were pretty struggling throughout the majority of the day. They were pretty much just like the Carthaginois kill points for most of the time. So yeah, I think the leaderboard, I don't think will be too much of a surprise for me. I think today it was pretty, stock and standard. Yesterday's games, though, it was tough to call. I'll be honest, but today, definitely, I feel like, we know exactly who's pulling through.
Well, in the meantime, let's take a look at the MVP for the last map of day 2 of the African Throwdown. Who is it going to be? And it looks like Nando Broseph once again makes an appearance there for DSG with 7 kills and 2,477 damage dealt, done, and dusted. Absolutely coming through in clutch there for Don't Stop Gaming. And wow, I mean, 2 wins for them? That is crucial. I think that is absolutely crucial. Fire, what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. They do look like a team that does know how to clean things up when it comes to that final circle. They do know how to get into the right spots and exactly when to third party and pounce on teams who are fighting. Like they just came in and just like in that final circle just took out those final 2 teams. So yeah, it's well deserved from me.
Absolutely well deserved. I mean, standings are being calculated as we speak. We'll take a look at the match standings first soon or shortly. But Tendo, some highlight moments for today. What would they be?
I feel like that first game, all of us not really knowing what to expect from Carthaginois, and all of a sudden we see Sabron with 12 kills. I feel like that's my highlight of the day. I mean, an absolute FPS god. I think everybody on that team is absolutely cracked. I mean, it's tough, right? For me in this lobby, I'd say gunfight wise, the best was definitely between Carthaginois and ATK. I feel like they're the most skilled in the lobby, but every time Carthaginois got into a fight with ADK lost. I don't think we can really take anything away from Carthaginois. They performed really well. Besides this game, obviously, I mean, not every game has to be insane, but Don't Stop Gaming with 20 kills. I mean, they're pretty much the second best. I'm pretty sure they'll come second with that dropping that amount of points. Winning 2 back-to-back games, doing really well for themselves. Even AQUAMEN did pretty good there, and we did see them perform quite well. And Drip Apex, I think 15 points is going to be just enough for them to snag a spot into this next round.
ATK coming through in 4th place there with the 9 points. Carthaginois there in 5th place with 6, draft 5. Picking up points in 6th place. Rollerz in 7th, carrying a controller player in 8th place. The 69 streamer team with 9th place and 4 points. And Dark Esports just jumping in there in 10th place with 3 points. That means very close there with the Average Joes, who also have 3 points. Actually, they literally have the duplicate score. So wow, just looking at it now. Spartans, Omnius Gaming coming through to 13th place, Inexorable Gaming in 14th, Tjippies in 15th, SaffasUnited in 16th place, NeoFlux in 17th, the Boys That A in 18th place, Ivory in 19th, and LITE Alpha Squad actually in 20th place, unfortunately. So for a lot of these teams, you can see it really wasn't a lucky game. It was a tough game. And for some of the teams, the entirety of today was quite a tough series. But, of course, the standings are being calculated, and that overall leaderboard is going to be interesting, I think. Obviously, we know exactly who a few of the teams are that are going to go through, but it's towards that latter end of the 10 slots that I'm a little bit like, I don't know who's just jumping in there. I don't know who's just going to sneak in that spot to the next phase, because we know there was a very big disparity in kills for some of the top teams. They were stealing the lobby of kills. So I don't know who might be some of my sort of dark horses that might just be jumping into that 10 slots. Fire, you got any ideas?
I mean, definitely, we're going to see Carthaginois, ATK, Don't Stop Gaming, of course, coming in with those 2 wins. A couple of guys we may see is, Aside from them, I'm still not sure. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'll just have to wait to see. But yeah, definitely. We may see dark esports. But aside from them, maybe 69 streaming. I don't know. Well, let's see. Let's see how it goes. That's all right.
Yeah, Drip Apex, 69 Gaming. I think there's a few teams that are like just jumping at me that may have just picked up enough points, you know, consistently picking up 1 or 2 here. I think like I really want to see how the scores go because I feel like it's going to be triple digits, double digits, and then single digits coming through in those 10 spots because it was such a disparity that only placement points were really like pulling through for some of the teams. You know, it wasn't kill points that were helping them, it was placement points. And we know the placement points, they go down significantly. It's like an exponential curve. It just drops. Yeah. So, I mean, if that's all that they're, you know, depending on, it's not a lot. It's not a lot to work with. And, I mean, I think for a lot of the teams coming through for the next phase, obviously it's going to be different because then again, it's a different mix mash of teams playing. And I don't know. I don't know how Carthaginois is going to, you know, go against the likes of like 2 noobs, 1 cheater. You know, because that's what we're going to be seeing in the semifinals. We're going to be seeing the top 10 of yesterday and today and tomorrow and the day after. Well, not tomorrow, the next week, the day after, going head to head. And then when we get to finals, I don't even want to know what's going to happen in finals. I think finals are going to be a very, very interesting set of matches because then the best of the best are going to go head to head. And if it's anything like what we saw today, whoo, it's going to be an interesting topic. Tendo, what do you think? What do you think? Any last few names that you want to shout out that you think really, really put in the work today and might have just stolen the spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm looking at maybe 69 streamer. They survived for quite some time in that final zone, but I feel like they might have not collected enough points throughout the majority of the day. But kudos to them for trying as hard as they could all the way until the end. It's always good to see a team like that. You know, I think Dark Esports is probably clenching right now because the way Drip played that game, probably going to start to push them down a little bit more. But I think Dark was pretty consistent for the majority of the day. But hopefully the consistency was just enough. You know, I'm really impressed, I think, with the players coming in from Don't Stop Gaming. You know, they kind of came as a bit of a dark horse in the middle of the day. You know, we think it's Carthaginois, it's 80K. We're like, yo, these are the guys that are pretty much just gonna have a back and forth at winning the games, and then all of a sudden, Don't Stop Gaming. So I'm gonna do it this time as an say it. But yeah, I feel like that those bottom 3 slots is going to be very close. I think in terms of top 7, it's going to be pretty much guaranteed sealed in stone, but those bottom 3 slots could just come down to like single digit differences, you know?
Ooh, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm a little bit, I think it's exactly that. It's going to be a huge disparity at the top, and then towards the end, it's slowly going to just taper off. But they're going to find those spots. And unfortunately, a lot of the teams are not going to find them spots, and they're going to come back for the next season, hopefully, and come back stronger, fighting, hopefully a little bit better this time around. But we definitely have an interesting set of teams. And again, the representation across the teams and the players that we have, I'm going to shout it out again. It's South Africa, it's Mauritius, Senegal, Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, Namibia, Madagascar. You know, your African countries coming through in clutch, but then also, you know, players and teams from across Africa, outside of Africa coming through, like Tunisia, England. It's insane, and I'm happy to see it. Overall standings already. We're going to find out who's going to be the 10 teams taking those slots and going through to the next phase of the African Throwdown. This is it. Group B, last shot, last opportunity. Here it is. Woo! Look at that. So again, we're just gonna have to check the pronunciation of the team, but I'm gonna go with what I've been told is apparently the French pronunciation. So Carthaginois coming through in first place with 94 points and 66 kills. Don't Stop Gaming in second place with 64 points. The AQUAMEN in third place with 45. ATK Esports, they made it happen in fourth place with 43 points. Fifth place is Carrying a Controller Player with 34 points. Omnius Gaming coming through in 6th place with 27 points. Drip Apex in 7th with 24 points. Rollerz with 18 points in 8th place. Doc Esports in 9th place with 18 points. And Drow 5, our team from Madagascar, coming through in 10th place, taking up the last slot with 17 points. And those 10 teams are your 10 teams moving on to the next phase. So I do need to say GG and well played, but unfortunately, goodbye to the Boys ZA 69 streamer team, Spartans, Ivory, NeoFlux, Inexorable Gaming, Tjippies, The Average Joes, SaffasUnited A, and LITE Alpha Squad. Thank you so much for playing, but unfortunately, we're not going to see you in the next phase, but it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Tendo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like I said, not a big surprise in terms of who's in that top 10. I feel like we pretty much expected it. So, you know, shout out to the top 10 for progressing. A couple of positions there, a bit questionable for me, to be honest with you. I probably would have predicted for ATK to be at least 2nd place, you know, maybe even 3rd, but obviously things don't go your way some days, you know, not all days are the same. Unfortunately, even Omnius Gaming, I feel like, you know, their job spot maybe is a bit of why they didn't perform too well, and I feel like Rollerz came through and really shook them up a little bit, and people just kept, you know, being in their business, and they just felt like they weren't really ready and prepared for that. But, you know, besides that, I feel like today's lobby was interesting, right? Because it's very top heavy, extremely top heavy. Yes, 2 noobs, 1 cheater. Yesterday was very top heavy as well, but kill wise, you know, they're still distributed quite nice and evenly. But pretty much that top 5 pretty much just like sucked up the lobby. To be honest with you, everybody else was just trying to pick up from the scraps. You know, it's a bit unfortunate, the turn of tide, but hey, you know what? It is what it is in Apex Legends. The RNG sometimes just isn't in your favor.
Exactly that, and I couldn't have said it better. So Fire, Tendo, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was an absolute cracker set of games for Group 5. For Group 5? Group B? English? Group 5? What's with the numbers and the letters of me?
It's late.
It's late.
It's
I need
okay.
caffeine, guys. I need caffeine. And it's just trying to pronounce these interesting names. I'm telling you, it got to me. It got to me. It's official. I'm so sorry, guys. But thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute cracker set of games for the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa, who do know how to pronounce things, which is, thankfully for you guys, the best case of this. And once again, I'm going to remind you, go check out that NODWIN Gaming Africa website. It's looking absolutely snazzy. Some great content on there and all the extra information you need to catch up with us next week, because we're going to be taking a break for the rest of the week and only coming back next week, which I believe is on Monday this time. But you can check out the dates and all the information on their website, on their social media. It's all going to be there, and you're going to know when it is, where it is, and what's going to be happening, with some extra clips and content in between. For the time being, though, I'm going to say goodbye and good night for the final time today. Group B, Group A have officially been seeded into the next phase, and now we still have to find out what's going to happen with Group C and Group D. Who's going to go through? Who's not? That's the question. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time.